Hello everyone, welcome to the Summer Rumble Division 2 Grand Final. I'm the only one casting today. It's Hayden, Arcade Retro Baker here, and today we're bringing you a massive match between Nobody Likes Yordles, the reigning Monash champions, and J for Genius, the Melbourne Uni boys. I don't know if they're champions or not, or whether they're just a team, but we'll find out. Anyway, we're going to hit straight into this pick and ban. And so far, we see that Janna ban coming out from NLY. Now, Janna, very strong champion, disengaged, shielding, very good for the ADCs, possibly played by Shoot. I don't know for certain. However, as this pick ban unfolds, we're going to see some interesting stuff coming out. Now, both of these teams came second in their respective groups. The top teams from each group, unfortunately, not making it to these finals, at least for those teams anyway. So there seems to be like a little bit of a first seed curse. However, these two teams are here now, so we're going to focus on them today. We're bringing you a massive as best of 3 series. So the first team to win twice takes the trophy and gets bragging rights. Now this is a classic matchup. It's Melbourne Uni versus Monash. Melbourne versus Monash. Classic matchup, not just in esports, but in uni in general. So whoever gets this will have ultimate bragging rights and is undoubtedly the best uni of all time, as long as Monash wins. So we're seeing some classic stuff come out here. Nothing too special at the moment, except for maybe the EVE ban. That's a bit interesting. I don't know NS Young to be playing much EVE. Perhaps he has recently. But traditionally he's a bit more of a tank player, so the Zac ban definitely more in line with at least what I'm used to seeing. I'm pretty familiar with the NLY guys at this point, so you know, the EVE ban a bit interesting. Sejuani, of course, you know, so Sejuani, Zac, very popular tank junglers right now. NS Young plays those very frequently as well. He's a big fan of that style. However, Tracker's Knife is removed, so not as good as they were, at least for competitive. But you know, still very effective champions. And we can see, you know, from the side of NLY, they banned that Lulu, so obviously I think they're trying to go for a bit more of an engaged comp, and Lulu, Janna, very good champions to prevent that one from happening. Camille, a very strong top laner, so, you know, we'll have to see where it goes from there. You know, Camille, very strong champion at the moment. A lot of people don't like her. A bit of a flex pick as well. I don't know if NS Young plays Camille jungle, but, you know, it's still a possibility. And we can see the champions at the moment, all very strong meta champions. We can see a nice noodle fight in the top lane. Sion with that buggy E, as of right now, coming in big time. You know, he's going to be pretty strong in lane, but, you know, Maokai going to be pretty good as well. Not necessarily in lane, but, you know, both champions definitely looking to scale up, get those few tank items and take over the team fights. And at the moment, we can sort of see, you know, top jungles being picked both together. And, you know, at the moment, everyone's listed in role order at the moment. And it seems like everyone's just picking in role order. We'll have to see if there's a switch coming up. And so it looks like there's going to be with this Virus mid here. No, not Virus mid, but it'll end up being Virus ADC. And we know that Virus is a pretty strong champion, at least for laning as well, and he's one of those Rage Blade builders. So, you know, he's also obviously going to come online, at least pretty quickly, compared to most other ADCs. And with the Wit's End changes, you know, that's a pretty good item for him. So he's perhaps, you know, a little bit stronger than he was previously. So very nice pick. Nothing too strange and out of the meta at the moment. We can see a Tristana pick. Tristana, probably the most powerful AD carry in the current meta. So, you know, we're, you know, not too surprising to see this one get picked. It does have a pretty high ban rate in general, at least for, you know, competitive, at least, you know, LCS and stuff like this. And it also sees quite a bit of presence in a lot of these games in the Summer Rumble as well. Tristana, very, very strong champion. And so we're heading into this second ban phase here, and, you know, both of the comps seem pretty decent. You know, it's a bit hard to sort of say who's better than the other. I reckon, in terms of late game, I think I'd have to give it to J for Genius on the red side here with Tristana Warwick. You know, those champions just pop off in the late game, whereas, you know, Jarvan and Varus, they tend to fall off just a little bit more than Warwick and Tristana perhaps do towards those end stages of the game. But of course, from my experience, the early game team comps generally tend to do pretty well in these tournaments. So I think NOI currently has a pretty good platform to stand on, at least this far into the draft. And so we close out this second ban phase with 3 mid lane bans, which is not too surprising considering neither of the mid lanes have been picked and there's only supports and mid laners left. Supports aren't too dominant, at least in this meta. This isn't, ardent meta of years past. And so, we'll begin to see some stuff here. And it looks like Unimel were going to save their final pick for the mid lane counter pick. So that's going to give Crazy here in this mid lane a nice advantage, at least in laning. And we can see, Alistar, a very strong support coming in. So it looks like they got maybe perhaps trying to go a bit aggressive, perhaps trying to counter the power that whatever Varus's lane brings. We'll have to see what the support pick is here. I'm hoping potentially something like a Braum or a Thresh comes out here, but I don't think Karan is a big engaged tank support player, so he's probably going to pick something maybe like a Bard, or maybe even a mage like a Zyra, possibly, for this support position. But I don't expect anything too crazy, and we can actually see the Braum coming out, which is really nice. I like this pick, because, it gives a lot of power into the early game, right, to counter that Alistar, potentially, shaking things up. So that's good. Braum, possibly one of the possibly the best early game support. That passive, very strong, really good at getting those early kills, especially on invades. So I do expect NOI to go for an invade in this early game, especially with the Varus, who's also pretty good. If he can get his Q first, he can apply some good poke. But I think the E's probably a bit better for the slow. It might help secure a kill. We can see Vel'Koz coming in as the last pick for Uni of Melb here. Now Vel'Koz is a bit of a curveball, I'd say. Not too many Vel'Koz players out there. So whenever you see a Vel'Koz, you sort of have to take a second to sort of consider what does this champion actually do. However, he is a pretty classical mage. He's pretty weak to ganks, which is a bit worrying considering there's a Warwick in the jungle who is, I'd say probably the weaker of the two junglers in terms of early game gank pressure. Jarvan able to apply a lot of pressure there, but saying that, both are very strong 6 junglers, but I think Jarvan has the upper edge for 4-6. So this Vel'Koz might experience some trouble. However, Corki, he's not the best laner. Well, he's not the best in the early game. It's probably a better way of saying it, so it might be a bit hard to follow up on a gank. However, looking at both the comps, I'd actually say Uni of Mel probably has the better overall comp. I mean, their comp synergize a little bit better. I think that Alistar will do quite a bit to help sort of offset the aggressive power of Varus and Braum. If Braum tries to go in for it and get aggressive engage, Alistar does have those disengage tools with his knockback, and even his knock-up as well can help disengage. And also Tristana with her rocket jump, infamous rocket jump, can help get away from any crowd control. However, if we're looking across, I think the last matchup is really this mid lane matchup. Both champions, Vel'Koz and Corki, sort of a little... sorry for the cough, by the way, guys. Both of these champions, they're not super aggressive early game champions. They're probably going to both just aim to farm it out unless there's jungle intervention. Of course, they'll try and set it up. However, without CC, Corki is definitely going to have a little bit more trouble in securing anything in that middle lane, and especially with the heal taken by Vel'Koz, giving that little bit of extra move speed, might give him, that little bit of extra speed to get out of the way of the flag and drag combo from the Jarvan. So, in terms of early game, sorry, it's all stacking up now, the cough. I'll have to apologise for that multiple times. I think I'll just stop now, but I'll apologise in advance for any more coughs throughout this series. And we can see both of the supports taking ignites, so they both clearly have an aggressive laning phase in mind. So I feel like we're going to have something pretty exciting in terms of this. Now, while we wait for the spectator delay to finish, I'm going to take a quick little break from casting and we'll get back in as soon as the game starts and I'll bring you some good stuff. And okay, we finally launch into the game here. Now, believe it or not, there's a pause. Now, if you guys have ever seen Nobody Likes Yordles play, these guys here over on the blue side, they always pause. So there's nothing new here. I think so, according to the chat, maybe. Oh, it seems like this is a J for Genius induced pause here. So we've got cool things. I think what we can discuss here is perhaps the keystones of the champions. We can see that Brom Karan here over on NLY is running Guardian, so he's going for a bit more of that defensive power, which is always really good for a jungle leash as well. Guardian, if the support has Guardian and you're a jungler, you're having a good time. That first camp, like that shield is always really nice for you. So that'll help out NS Young here on this Jarvan to help get his early clear going. However, on the other side, we can see Aftershock coming out from Shoot on this Alistar here, so he's going to be going for those more aggressive engages. Well, I think that Keystone synergizes really well with Alistar's kit. They reasonably recently increased the resistances from the rune, but lowered the damage just a little bit, and that's really good for Alistar because he's the kind of champion that wants to go in, engage, and just tank up a ton of damage. And so it's really good for him to have that sort of Keystone. However, we can see all of the marksmen in this game, so including that Corki in the mid lane, taking that fleet footwork, a very popular keystone for almost all marksmen, because they just want that extra lane sustain, that healing power, and fleet footwork just works really well for him. I think in particular it works really well for Corki and Tristana, those champions that like to build those Zeal items, so those work really well in terms of that, whereas Varus a little bit less so. He doesn't build those Zeal items, so he doesn't get the rapid fire cannon, he doesn't get the static shiv, where those passives stack up very nicely. However, it'll still give him that laning power that he wants. I think press the attack could also work really well for him, especially with the damage amp. I mean, the damage amp was recently nerfed, however, with the stun and the like, could potentially, lead to a really aggressive and powerful laning phase. However, they decided not to go for that. We can see a little bit of action happening here in the mid lane before the minions come in. We can see buy Kaza tickets. Shameless plug for the Korean club at Monash here, so buy the tickets. Make sure you do that. Paid by NOI, by the way. Anyway, we can see that Corki here in this mid lane gets the upper hand here on Vel'Koz. He's not really expecting to get SKT T1 crazy, getting down to about half HP. Looks like he's going to have to recall on this one. And my Fog of War's not looking proper at the moment, so we're only looking at NOI. However, I've got it fixed up now, so we can see everyone and what they're starting. So we can see just a regular start coming out from both junglers here, both of them starting on their bottom side of the map. And we'll see that Guardian come into play here. Possibly. Maybe not. Okay, anyway, so the Guardian didn't actually proc, however, NS Young was still able to get a really nice leash here. And we'll see stuff happening really nice. So, in terms of early clears right now, we can actually see Jarvan getting pretty far ahead of the work. Both of the junglers opted in for Wolves. However, False Algebro will have to take a little bit longer due to his longer clear time on that first buff, which means that at the moment NOI have a bit of a tempo advantage, so if they want to try and force something in the top lane, they definitely have the opportunity to do that. We can actually see an aggressive ping coming out from J for Genius here. They can see NS Young on his blue buff right now. They've got that vision, that ward placed by Lord Gisela early on in the game, really coming out here. And we can see a similar thing happening from NOI. So there was a ward on the Raptors, and really just a lot of reciprocal plays coming out from both teams here. They both know what's happening, both know what's going on, and sort of making use of the vision advantage for this early game. And so, hopefully, we see NOI's bottom lane go aggressive early, making use of that Varus early game to perhaps get an advantage. Much how we see reciprocating on the top lane, the Scion making use of his advantage for the top lane. And we can see a trade coming out from the bottom here. 3 stacks of passive coming up on this Alistar here. He doesn't stun it, times out. And that could have potentially been a really big trade. However, I think Union Melb come out on top of this one here as ADC Lamus Pro here took the damage for the lane, which is not very good. If you're ever taking a trade 2v2 in the bottom lane, you want the support to bear the brunt of the damage, because the ADC is the main show, of course, of the bottom lane. The support is the behind-the-scenes guy working the lights. So we can see some aggressive trades happening here in the bottom lane. I expect a reasonably soon recall coming out of Maokai here. He's down to 1 potion left on his corrupting potion. I know we're not looking at that lane right now. However, it is getting pushed in. But I think this directed cam is biased a little bit towards bottom lane because there's way more people down there. We can see the vision game coming out from Union Melb here. They've got this this aggressive ward into the blue buff side of the jungle. And we can see a trade coming in this bottom lane here. Lamus Pro going pretty low. The stun lands under the Alistar. Braum trying to get as much as he can done. The Pro coming out from Varus here, and it looks like the trade is just going to end at that. And we can see Rainbow Duck. He's getting knocked up by the Sion here. He's going low. Perhaps he might die, but Sion's out of mana. He might be able to get away just in time. He still has flash up. Not enough mana out of Sion to complete that kill, and Rainbow Ducky's got a recall. So that's a pretty close fight up in the top lane there. The Arcane Karma, the early game power from Sion here with that aggressive mastery showing itself in full force. We can actually see a nice 15 CS lead already, not even 5 minutes into the game, coming out for this Sion here. Just pure laner on laner action. So that's really what we can expect to see here. Most tanks in the early game aren't the strongest. Sion being kind of like the exception to the rule, and we can see Rainbow Ducky's questionably sticking around. I think at the moment the best option for him would be to recall, which he is doing now, and then just TP back to lane to sort of offset the advantage that Lord Gisela has here. And he just gets sniped! What? What happened there? That kill just came out of nowhere. Holy moly. So anyway, Simon taking that first blood. There's a huge mistake out of Rainbow Duckies here, not recalling at the appropriate time. He stuck around. He was too greedy for a little bit too long. No stacks on Corrupting. Early game Maokai poked into Oblivion. And we can see both the top laners are heading back to base here. But I mean, just look at that item advantage. Maokai not able to buy an awful lot. We can see Barmy Cinder coming out from both sides. We can see questionably out of Lord Gisley here, the cloth armor. I'm not too sure about that, especially since you're landing against a majority magic damage champion. And we can see another trade happening out in the bot lane. The Aftershock procs out of Rainbow Duckies here. Doesn't do too much. However, Rainbow Duckies needs to realise that he is not level 6 just yet. And Sion does have that ultimate, which does a surprising amount of damage. And we can see them going for each other now. But look, Gisler can just pop his ult at any time and get that knock-up going. Both champions taking down about 50% HP. But we can see an aggressive invade coming out from False Algebra and Crazy here. But at the meantime, there's stuff happening in the bottom lane. Alistar going really low here. He doesn't have the ult for the damage resist. However, NLY has to back out there because the members, the mid lane and jungle of J for Genius here are deep inside the jungle. And they're coming in. Alistar flashes in. The jump in from Lessie. Braum going really low. Is he going to die here? He uses the flash. He goes low. Crazy secures the kill. The ult comes out from Vel'Koz on the Landers Pro. Are they going to go for the dive? Lessie trying to see what he can make happen. But nothing. No kills end up being secured. Shoot going really low there. Minions in the early game, man. They're taking him down low. But he manages to drop the aggro just in time. And we can see an aggressive invade coming out. Nice twisted advance from Rainbow Duckies, dodging the Q from Sion. And that's just a nice, solid trade coming out. Rainbow Duckies using that passive to keep the HP up. Sion not getting that knock-up that he wants. Aggressive invade coming from Union Melbourne, but he's only level 4. False Algebra. Whoa, he steals the red, gets level 5, full HP now. But can they make something out of it? NS Young and Kazati, it's trying to make something happen, but he just runs. But Algebra runs back to Crazy in the mid lane, and it looks like he's going to get out of that one safe. A lot of action happening here before the 10-minute mark. This is going to be a good series. Anyway, looking at the gold lead, we can see that J for Genius here have a 1k advantage. And wait, hang on a minute, that's not their buff. So we just saw False Algebra double buffing NS Young here. The aggressive jungle invades working out really well for J for Genius right now. NLY being put a little bit behind, but they're going for a reciprocal play on the bottom side of the map, trying to steal that blue buff for Kaza tickets here. But shoot, he might not let this one happen. Lessie might come in on the backside, but they might just give this one over. It's 2v3. A little bit too much of a risk. You know, they're happy with this play, right? You know, J for Genius able to get something on the other side. And really, they're not losing out. They're going even at worst. And we can see a little bit more vision being gained by Karan and NS Young here in this river. Perhaps trying to set up for an early dragon play. We did see those Elder buffs. Elder Dragon buffs in the most recent patch. So the earlier you can get those starting to stack, the better you'll be. Now we can see perhaps nothing too crazy, just a little bit of a trade there. Shoot getting down that ward in that tri-brush there, perhaps trying to evade any possible ganks from NS Young here on this Jarvan. Now we can see just some another more boring farming at the moment. So things looking pretty even down in the bottom lane at the moment. We can actually see Tristana with that BF sword and dagger combo able to put out a decent amount of damage, I think, at this point, at least compared to Varus. He's got the recurve bow, the pickaxe. And I think if we're looking at it, it's probably a little bit better to have that BF sword, at least for Tristana. I think Tristana with her Q, steroid, and the BF sword is definitely going to allow them to win trades. And CS looks relatively even. Lames Pro able to gain a little bit of an advantage off of that wave there. However, there is a huge wave built up that Lessie will be able to soak up and perhaps even out that deficit. But it looks like the biggest advantage is coming in this top lane here. Maokai getting absolutely abused in this top lane here. Like 20 CS advantage for this Sion here. He's got a kill up. He's got some items. He's finally got himself a Null Magic Mantle, which is going to make it even harder for Rainbow Duckies to win these trades. And I mean, look at him. He's just going all out. He's trying to go and get something done. A little bit of a trade, but we see something happening in the bottom side of River here. Karan knocked up. Velkozol comes out, but that's not going to block enough damage, and that's Karan going down. And that's another kill for J for Genius. So we can see Union Melb here. You know, they're coming out with the big guns. They're going all out aggressive. And a lot of stuff happening. They're taking this game by the horns. And they're making shit happen, really, right here. You know, they're going fully aggressive play. They don't know why. They're just hoping they can scale at this point, I think. You know, Corky, he had to rush that Hex Drink, so that's going to put him behind quite a bit. And J for Genius taking that Dragon, increasing that Snowball just a little bit more. And they're going to make things hard in the bottom lane here. This Tristana, he's got 2 assists already. He's getting that gold income, and I think at this point that's a little bit better than a 4 CS deficit, at least in the bottom lane. And Alistar, you know, he's going to start getting tanky real quick, and they're trying to take down this mid lane turret. Kaza Tickets had to back on this Corky here. Karan and Ennis Young trying to make something happen, and that's an aggressive jump forward from Lessie here. He's trying to get the explosive charge down onto the Lamus Pro. He gets a few shots down, not enough to secure any meaningful damage. However, it's a nice advantage that they take. They're able to get some chip damage down onto the turret. That thing's sitting at about 3/5 HP, a little bit less than that. And we can see Lessie here getting this the CS deficit completely closed by this point. However, if we look towards the mid lane, we can see a really big deficit occurring, right? 30 CS in favour of SKT Crazy, which is a little bit surprising given Corky's ease at farming, especially in the mid lane here. Now, if we look at the items coming out here, both of the top laners have got a Spectre's Cowl. Forgot the item name for a moment there. However, I can't help but feel that it's a little bit better for the Scion to have. However, not enough time to talk about that one because we can see a trade happening in the bottom lane, but it ends as soon as I start talking about it, and then we go to a trade in the top lane. So perhaps we can see some action coming out here. We can see Algebro starting to take an aggressive invade, perhaps onto the Jarvan here. Kaza having a Valkyrie away, and this is going to be another red buff invaded by False Algebro. Who's going to get it? And the camp went away. Wait, no, they're actually happening in the bottom lane. Hang on. So we can actually see that Ennis Young did actually get that red buff, which is nice. And we can see action happening in the bottom lane. Lamus Pro about half HP. He's got the explosive charge on him. Rooted up Tristana. And we can see Tower Shot's being taken by Shoot, but he's got that ult down for the damage. The stopwatch comes out, knocked back out of the Cataclysm. No, hey, hang on a minute. Algebro goes down here with the over-aggressive ultimate. Infinite duress. And unfortunately, Attack of the Throat happened right as that play was about to happen. But anyway, we can see NOI striking back, closing that gold lead just a little bit more. It's down to about 1250 gold at this point. But yeah, NOI definitely making a nice play there, capitalizing on the over-aggression from J for Genius. Now we can see these new items coming out in the middle lane here for Vel'Koz. He has picked up that Luden's Echo. Probably the best item. We can see an aggressive Valkyrie from Kazatek. He's trying to get a trade going down, but he's almost out of mana. And Crazy just wears that one up on his sleeve like nothing ever happened. So we can see Tristana here down in this bottom lane going for that Zeal item after the BF sword. However, in reply, Varus has completed his Ginsu's Rage Blade. And we can see an aggressive gank coming out from Ennis Young. He's getting locked up by Shoot coming out, and the ult comes out, and that's Ennis Young going down. Algebro's here as well. This is a 3v1 Kazatek. You're about to go 4v1. Sarnel coming out, stealing that kill. Sorry, securing that kill. And it looks like Union Melbourne are going to push out this mid lane and take the first tower of the game here, extending their gold lead to almost 3,000 gold, only 14 minutes into the game. Looks like they're just going to reset. They're going to steal another buff. Ennis Young not getting anything this game, man. And this also has the knock-on effect of Corky in this mid lane not getting his blue buff, not able to keep up with Vel'Koz clear, which is already pretty mana efficient. So it's going to make things very difficult. It looks like they're going to go for this Rift Herald as well. J for Genius doing a lot to capitalize on the mistakes of NLY here. These guys have just been caught with their pants down, and J for Genius is saying, We're not giving you any room. We just got to take everything we can. And NOI have no response. They're going to try to take this bottom lane tower as there's only the Tristana there. Braum trying to go and he misses the Q. And we can see NS Young coming in for an aggressive gank from the Tri-Bush. However, the wave gets cleared out, so the dive is risky at this point. Kazatik is coming down on this Corki. However, Shoot coming in on the outside to try and make something happen. The jump is there, but he successfully lands the ult. Is he going to go down? Kazatik is flashing forward for it. Will he land the rocket? Fancy feet. No fancy feet from Leslie. He goes down. But we can see UniML not trying their best to answer. However, they take down that Rift Herald in reply. And if the tower doesn't go down here, I can't help but think that kill is not as worth as they might think it is. It's going to be a real... It's going to be interesting to see where UniML here drop this Rift Herald. Perhaps might use it to down... Oh, shit, I don't know. Mid lane tower's already dead, so that's usually what Rift Herald's for. But we can see an aggressive invade coming in from Algebro here. He's going to about half HP. He's trying to get out. He's going towards me. He might have flash up, but no, he uses his ult to get out. NS Young trying to make something happen here. However, Lord Gizler is there on the back end, and it looks like NS Young decides to back out at the end there. Decides it's probably going to be a little bit too deep for him to go, especially with the deficit that the NOI are currently experiencing. They're about 3k down at the moment, which is not looking good for them, especially since they don't look like they have the early game. Aggressive flash forward from Leslie here, and that's going to be an easy kill on a Lambdas Pro. He just got caught out. There's no excuses about it. Shoot doing a lot of work on this Alistar, participating in 5 out of the team's 6 kills. So Shoot doing a lot of work this game. Looks like this bottom tower is going pretty low. Tristana using her epic sieging power to get stuff done. Shoot zoning out Braum here. It looks like there's going to be another tower going over to Melbourne Uni here. And Rift Herald gets summoned in the top lane. They're going to try and knock that one down. If we look up top, that's about half HP. So that is definitely a dead tower right there. That's 2 towers in the span of like 10 seconds. Melbourne Uni trying to gather this gold and gather it quick. And NOI at this point, they've got to be struggling. They've got to send people up here to defend against this Rift Herald. For those who don't know, the ultimate counter to Rift Herald is to have multiple people attack it. I know, it sounds crazy, but that's the counter. It's countered by champions. The more champions you have there, the less damage Rift Herald will do to your towers. NOI here on the back foot. They're down 5k gold already. Lambdas Pro getting that red buff perhaps might help him either secure a kill or perhaps keep him safe with that slow. And at the moment, NOI really have to wait for item spikes here. They do have the Ginsus out of Virus to work with, which is really nice. However, Corki getting that Hex Drinker first had to delay his Trinity Force, so that's going to delay his power spike, which is especially big at 2 items, pretty good at 1 item as well. Meanwhile, we can see Crazy here. He's already finished 2 complete items. He's got that Ludens and the Morellonomicon to stop any healing that would come out from any of them, which is a bit strange. However, I think it's pretty alright as a second item buy. Maybe not the most optimal. However, against the Fleet Footwork Corki, that's definitely going to give him a leg up in laning. But maybe team fights he could be doing better with another item. More specifically, maybe Leandry's Torment, for example. So he's definitely going for that lane-focused build. And we can see a lot of vision from J for Genius in this south side jungle. And it looks like they're going to try and push in this bottom tower. Lambdas Pro, the only one there to defend. However, in a 2v1, he's not going to be feeling too confident about it. And with Shoot coming down there as well, it looks like they're going to be scared off. UniML just trying to back out on that one. They're not trying to take too much in the way of risks. And wait, hang on, this is top lane. This place has been an island for the longest of times. I haven't seen a Scion or a Maokai on my screen for who knows how long. But anyway, as quick as it shows up, it goes. And we're back to the main action. So at the moment, if we look at the lanes, we can see a massive 50 CS lead in this mid lane. Kazatik's not doing too well on this Corki, at least in terms of picking up this CS here. They finally are able to secure a blue buff that isn't the first. So that's I think that's a very small victory, but a victory nonetheless for them, especially since they've been struggling with it for the previous moments in this game. And so looking at this bottom lane virus, definitely making use of this Ginsu's advantage here. He's been able to rack up a 20 CS lead, which Lessie is going to continue to decline with just a few simple shots to the mid lane minions. Now it'll be interesting to see. Okay, hang on. I can't remember what the item is for gold. Yeah, there it is. Okay, we got it. And so we can actually see vision score here, I think, coming out of the teams. Yeah, so we can see that in terms of vision score, Shoot doing a lot of work in terms of vision here, and Algebro not doing an awful lot, at least, relative to the rest of the team. It looks like he might be getting caught out here. A lot of ults being expended here. We can see 3 ults being expended to take down Algebro here. They might go for a further fight. NS Young looking for that aggressive flagging drag, but he gets knocked up by the Velcros. The ult comes out. Bormal doesn't do too much against that. However, Melbourne Uni not able to secure a return kill, and NLY expending 3 ultimates for that kill onto the jungler, who I don't think is the main problem in this game, but a pick is a pick, and an advantage is an advantage, so hopefully they can prevent themselves from being exploited for this downtime in ultimates, and hopefully they can get back into this and make this more of an exciting, even game, because the more even the game, the more exciting. We all know that, especially from watching LCS. We all know that those 60-minute games that end after one team fight are the most exciting, as pinnacle League of Legends, and hopefully we get that this game. And so looking at this gold here, we can see that I think the biggest advantage is, I think, between the junglers and the mid laners, right? So Uni and Melp here, they both have about a 1k advantage, which is about maybe like a third of an item overall. So we can see, and it especially manifests itself in the mid lane here, where we can see Corki with Trinity Force and Hex Drinker, and then the Vel'Koz with 2 full completed items. But however, this Trinity Force Power Spike for Corki is going to mean good things for NLY, and especially since, he's probably one of their better players, right? Tickets does a lot to carry his team. He's one of those big damage dealers, so hopefully we'll look to him to help bring it back. And he does have that package. Uni and Melba positioning maybe a little bit too aggressively, considering they should know that Corki package is up since it gets announced to the team, and this could potentially be a catch out for Shoot and Algebro. However, Corki being zoned away from the aggressive engage by the rest of J for Genius. He's looking to go in, and it looks like this package is about to expire, and it does. He doesn't end up using it, which means that Uni and Melba free to perhaps try an aggressive play, try to force a team fight, especially with those 2 Ocean Drakes. I mean, they don't have to force it because of those 2 Ocean Drakes, sorry. We can see Sion trying to go in there. Infinite Duress comes out, and that's tons of damage on a double kill for Tristana, and 1 auto attack, and a team fight coming out aggressive. Jump forward from Lessie here. He's going down about half HP. He's trying to get what he can done. Karan goes low. Algebro ends up dying. However, Melbourne Uni aren't done yet. But Tickets with that Trinity Force Power Spike, perhaps he can turn around Karan very well as well. And we can see Crazy going down. Tickets taking over this team fight here. Will Lord Gizler go down? It looks like he might here. He tries to get the knockup. He gets it down onto Rainbow Lucky's here, but that's not enough to keep him alive. And that's Tickets taking his 3rd kill and bringing NLY back into the fray. Very nice team fight from NLY here. The Trinity Force Power Spike proving to be massive coming out for these guys. He comes out, he does a ton of damage. Unfortunately, this ain't LCS, so we can't see exactly how much damage he did, but I imagine it's a lot. Believe me, I've talked to many people. His damage is the best, okay? That's my shit Trump impression. Take it with it what you will. I'll try not to do it again. So we can see the kills almost even here. NLY bringing it up to 7. And we can see Unimel coming up to 8. And so now things might start to look a bit scary for J for Genius here. They got that early game advantage. However, Tickets, he's coming up big, right? However, if J for Genius are able to stall it out long enough, they will be the ultimate teamfight kings. Tristana and Vel'Koz, absolutely mammoth team fighters in the late game. Varus, a little bit less so. We can see NS Young taking the dragon away, flashes back over the wall to get out. So he doesn't even give up a kill, he steals that Infernal Drake, very important. That's just going to make team fighting a lot better for NLY here. Now we can see JF Genius grouping up in this mid lane, trying to push it down. We can see what looks like a 1-4 from both teams beginning to emerge, reciprocating with the Scion in the top lane, Maokai in the bottom lane. And I can't help think that this is a bit better for NLY, since there's actually a tower more ready for the taking, at least in this bottom side of the map. We can see what was once a 5-6k gold lead. Wait, hang on a minute. Karan going low. Perhaps an aggressive damage coming out. And the ultimate comes out from Karan to help get himself out alive. He's about half HP. Goes for a Q. Doesn't quite land. And it seems like things have settled down. And so Rainbow Duck is taking down that tower, which is very nice for him. Well, perhaps Kazak's maybe caught out the Valkyrie. Goes very low. Aggressive jump in from Lessie. This is the name of the game here. Kazik is going down really low here, but so are many other members. Shoot going down low as well, and Kazik finally goes down dead on this Corki. Ult comes out from Crazy, but meanwhile in the backline, Lessie picking up a kill for himself. Double kill, actually, overall, and Crazy being able to secure a kill into NS Young. And this isn't good because Baron is up, and there's only 2 members of NLY alive, and if JF Genius here take this Baron, this could be very difficult for NLY to come back into this game. We can see Lord Gisler taking out the Vision, preventing NLY from coming in for anything. We can see that West Side Jungle is lit up like a Christmas tree from Red Side. We can see a pause coming out to kill the vibe, Buzzkill. It looks like that came out from NLY, I think. It's a classic. I'm surprised they haven't spammed the chat with going to hotspot, man. That's a classic from them. But, it hasn't happened this game. But, whenever you watch an NLY game, even if they're not the ones pausing, you expect a lot of pauses. Now, if we look at the items across the board here, we can see advantages for almost every champion in favour of J for Genius. The only place where it seems to be reasonably even is in the bottom lane here, where, both champions have 2 core items. We can see the Blade of the Ruined King and Ginsu's on Varus, along with the Infinity Edge and Shiv for Tristana. However, Tristana seems to be a little bit ahead, obviously, with these completed boots and the Kerchi Shard. Definitely allowing her to get a little bit more done than Varus. So I feel like at this point, in terms of bottom lane, Unimelb have definitely outscaled Varus at this point. And it's going to be hard for him to have a bigger impact than Tristana at this point, unless we hit super late game. However, in this middle lane, we can actually see that Kazakis is catching up. He's finished his rapid fire cannon. However, none of that really matters because we have JF Genius here going for this Baron, and they're going to get that uncontested after that amazing team fight from them. It looks like the members are just going to base, spend some gold, get those minions flowing, and I expect at this point to see a 1-4 come out. So, we should expect Lord Gisler to be split pushing. I'd prefer top lane, since that tower is already low and a bit easier to take. And then we should see the rest of the 4 members heading down for a mid lane push to knock down that inner tower. However, it doesn't seem to be happening, at least for the moment here. We can see Algebro taking this red buff down really low. Doesn't give it over to Lessie, which is a bit of a surprise. We generally see buff transfers happening, at least at this part of the game. And it looks like they might actually end up sending Crazy down for a split push. And sorry. Baron is really good with split pushing because it allows you to get those empowered minions in every lane, get the maximum spread, and allow you to knock down towers as quickly as you possibly can. All 5 members of NLY's lane are heading it down mid, while we can see Algebro pushing in this top side. Not the champion that I'd expect to be hitting up that top side of the map. However, the strategy is sound in terms of the overall. So the allocation's a bit off, but the overall strategy is very nice. I appreciate it. And we can see this mid lane tower perhaps going down a little bit more. The cast minions of Baron this patch are a lot better than they were in the previous patch. So Baron, a lot stronger overall. Elder Drake, stronger overall. And we can see a top lane tower going down here. So the split push was successful, at least so far, because no one from NLY answered. And that's perhaps a bit of a misplay. Actually, a really big misplay here. So, if they wanted to counter this split push, they could use that Jarvan and the Brom to try and force a team fight in mid. And especially with that Maokai ultimate as well. However, they just let the Maokai push, get that down. And it looks like Maokai is going to be losing the engage against Algebro. So he gets Karan to help him out. And of course the Warwick just ults away. He doesn't need to use it for engage. And we see a tower going down the bottom. So the package is used by Kha'Zix to get away and sort of melt down that wave just a little bit. However, with these Baron empowered minions, it's not going to be enough to completely clear this wave. And we might see an inhib tower going down. But Karan using the ultimate aggressively on a crazy here. Lord Gizla getting the knockup up, and Karan just gets absolutely pumped. We can see Sun going in onto Lamb's Pro. Lessie locked out of the fight. But it doesn't matter because he flashes in aggressively, jumps forward aggressively. Kha'Zix is going down very low here. Murdoch is doing enough to keep Lessie from killing Kha'Zix. But it doesn't matter because this tower is going to go down anyway. And that's going to spell a first inhib for Uni of Melbourne. We can see up in the top side, Warwick is also pushing that one in. So it's going to be 2 inhibs going down for Uni of Melbourne here. Kha'Zix is going down really low here. Lessie following up on shoots engage. Because Murdoch is going down really low here. Lord Gizla taking down the tower. Algebro knocking down that inhib as we speak. And we can see this game accelerating extremely quickly. And it looks like it's going to be a win for Uni of Melbourne right now. But not for yet. We can't say that exactly right now. But it's looking exactly like it. Algebro getting stunned up by the Brom. And Corky Kha'Zix is trying to get what they can done. And the game ends a little bit too quickly. And that's going to be Uni of Melbourne J for Genius taking game number 1 in this best of 3 series. Anyway, we're going to take a short little break while we set up the next game. Stick around, don't leave too long, and we'll be back in just a second.
Yeah, it did, so it was okay. So, and then I survived, I don't know. And then I saw them afterwards, and then I split off, because, Nathan. Oh my god.
What is this queue time? What the fuck?
Guess who won another ranked game?
Not you!
Well, it was this boy.
I'm kidding.
That's awkward, isn't it?
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, nice job.
Yeah, man. I sussed the champ select, but I was in the game. So, really.
No.
Oh, guess who's qualified for their promos?
Oh, not you!
Yep, you're right.
What do you mean by that? I mean, maybe? I'm just like... You can plug the what now? Stream? Hannah, yeah, continue. I did not shit talk. Yeah. No, I was gonna play a game, but I'm waiting for someone. 'Cause, great. Forever. And ever. And ever. And ever. And ever. And ever. Hey, I'm Nathan. Nathan? No? Okay. Good stuff.
He's definitely.
Oh no, he's muted anyway.
Scream. Okay.
We signed up to the Swinburne Club today. The wait, who left? Oh, Nathan.
He
What a
went down
snitz.
to
He
talk
joined
to
them.
some people, I think.
I'm very disappointed. I like berries.
I'm not.
So why are you
Right.
drunk?
So hit it.
And so, we're back with game number 2 of the 2017, I think it's 2017, Summer Rumble. And we're into game 2 now. We saw Uni of Melbourne take out that first game in very convincing fashion. But the question is, can they repeat that performance, or are NLY able to bounce back and tie up the series for an epic 3-game series? I know which one I'd prefer. A 3-game series, of course. Because the longer I'm here, sitting and talking, the more fun I have. Sleepers for the week. Anyway, so getting into the picks and bans, and nothing seems to have changed too much. However, as soon as I say that, we see an Alistar ban come out from NLY here. It's 2017. Well, no, it started in 2017. I'm calling it 2017. Anyway, Alistar ban comes out. So it's a little bit different. And so, we can see not too much changed overall. Anyway. Now, Warwick ban coming out from NLY. As soon as I say nothing's changed, everything changes. So if I don't say that, we'll see exact same team comps, except for Uni Melb. Now we can see Sion being picked again by Lord Gizler. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm going to pronounce it Gizler for... Anyway. Sion, very nice pick. Very strong pick. Worked out very well for Uni of Melb last game, perhaps. Not too crazy. And we can see potentially a repeat of last game's matchup coming out again. With Rainbow Duckies hovering this Maokai here. However, they baited me. And they picked Cho'Gath instead. Now, hopefully NLY picks champions that can facilitate Cho'Gath arriving on a key target and making them go poof. And as they say that, we see the Kha'Zix come out. Kha'Zix is good at, the assassinations, good early game, assassin and the like. However, in terms of facilitating Cho'Gath, perhaps not the best pick. But who knows, this comp might work out in the end, and we can see a Janna being picked up by the side of Uni Melb here. Which, I mean, looking at the bans, Alistar, Camille, I feel like, at least compared to last game, NLY have made a bit of a mistake, because they took the Janna, they took the Lulu off the board as early as they possibly could, and especially if you're going to pick something like the Cho'Gath, you definitely don't want to be facing something like a Janna who has so much disengage, right? And especially, something like Kha'Zix as well, he also struggles against Janna, so I feel like this is a little bit of an oversight from NLY. The draft already looking a bit sketchy from them. However, they attempt to rectify this with the Bard pick. Now, really, I think the best case scenario for this Bard is that he lands an ult onto, even the Janna, so that they can get onto this Xayah. However, the disengage coming out from Melbourne Uni's bottom lane spells absolute disaster for NLY, especially with the current champions that they've picked. And, after this... this Varus ban, right, who can provide quite a lot of extremely useful lockdown, it's going to be a little bit difficult for NLY to pick tools that help facilitate the engage. And so we can see a Skarner ban coming out. I don't know how likely Alkbro is to pick Skarner. So unfortunately I don't have too much of a comment on that. However, he is a popular power pick at the moment. By the way, if you guys jungle and solo queue, you should totally pick Skarner because he's very strong, especially with Predator, but don't ban it, especially if you're likely to be matched against myself. And so we're seeing, this champion select evolve. We can see a Draven ban coming through. That's a very specific target ban against Lamb Pro. I feel like that, at least I'm pretty sure that's his second most picked AD carry, at least in terms of solo queue. And he tried to, go for a bit of a, sort of a, how can we say, a little bit of a troll hover with the Jhin there. Which is definitely his most played, at least last season specifically. He's sort of a bit, infamous among the ESM community as a bit of a Jhin main, or at least the Division 2, players as a bit of a Jhin main. However, he decides to opt in for the Caitlyn, which is a much superior pick. Now, it looks like the jungler coming out is a Trundle, which, I mean, NLY have got to be pretty, devastated by that. Trundle, very strong against Cho'Gath. So kind of just nullifying that pick there. And Rainbow Duckies, I feel like over the course of this tournament, hasn't really had the strongest performance around. And so now he's just being shoved into this matchup where it's going to be very difficult for him to perform. And so, it almost takes him out of the game, right? You take someone who has perhaps been maybe like a weak point of NLY, and I don't mean to be rude, of course, but, sort of setting him up for failure, I guess. So it's going to be really on him to make sure he can get around this counter matchup, at least in terms of team fighting, let's say. However, the Anivia pick for Kaza tickets here, I don't know how much of a Anivia player he is. He's not, I don't think he's not a mid lane main. So, he sort of, picks, I don't know, he picks some stuff that I guess is, I don't know, a little bit different. Like, mid lane mains, they pick certain things. Like, I mean, a mid lane main might pick Corki, but, they obviously, like, generally, Corki's maybe more of an autofill kind of champ. I mean, people get autofilled mid. I mean, it happens, believe it or not, but, when that happens, Corki is generally a pretty popular pick, at least, anecdotally. I can't say much for the metrics. However, Anivia, very nice pick, pretty weak in the early game, so, again, NLY going for these scaling picks with the Anivia, the Cho'Gath, the Caitlyn to some extent. Obviously Caitlyn has that infamous early laning where she provides a lot of pressure, Bard as well, being a very strong early game support. But, we saw a similar dichotomy in the previous game, right? Similar dynamic where we had, NLY picking a strong bottom lane, but failing to capitalize on that advantage. And I mean, if a similar thing happens now, this is Arya, Janna, they get going, it's going to be really hard for NLY to come back into this game. So I think, looking at these drafts, it's, pretty risky for NLY overall. And we look at, Melbourne Union. Wait, hang on a minute. Is that a Scion jungle? What? Okay, anyway. Scion jungle. Very interesting. I think I'd prefer the Trundle in the jungle. I think in terms of, jungling power, Trundle is better at it. However, I can understand the choice, right? The Trundle gets that one-on-one laning shutdown on the Cho'Gath. And I mean, when, you hear LCS casters say Trundle is good into Cho'Gath, they don't mean laning. They mean in team fights, that pillar, very destructive against Cho'Gath. I mean, Cho'Gath's a tank, right? So of course Trundle is good against him. Trundle's good against, tanks in general. That's just what his kit is good at. But Cho'Gath specifically, right? In team fights, he just gets completely shut down by Trundle. And that's really the main part. So I think sacrificing the power to have him in lane is perhaps maybe a suboptimal decision, but obviously not game-breaking. It doesn't lose them the game. So, they're looking like they're going to have a bit of a leg up here. And this Corki and Nivea matchup, especially early game, I feel like is going to be extremely boring. It's going to be farming for the most part. Corki doesn't want to go in early. And Nivea can struggle to go in early, especially if we see some fancy feet coming out from Crazy here. So I think both Both players are going to opt into a more passive style of play. I think the only really option for aggressive players will come in terms of the Anivia Kha'Zix, right? Kha'Zix, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Cyan jungle, I will admit, but I believe Kha'Zix is a lot stronger early game. He's probably like maybe the most viable early game jungler in the meta at the moment. You know, he's got that isolation damage, which is absolutely huge. Whereas, you know, other, you know, more popular traditional early game picks like Lee Sin especially, and, you know, Elise as well, having a bit of struggles in the current meta. So really, in terms of that, we should expect, if there's any action in the mid game, that it is going to be at very sorry. Coughing's attack of the coughs, man. Attack of the coughs. Anyway, you know, we're going to see, perhaps if there's going to be any, you know, aggression in the mid lane, we should expect it to come out from Nobody Likes Yordles, and I think they have to at this point. You know, they got taken down reasonably, you know, easily in the previous game. And of course, they had flashes of brilliance. You know, they had some opportunities where they got some nice picks and, you know, tried to bring themselves back into it. But in the end, obviously, it didn't work out quite for them. You know, them losing that game. And, you know, I think, you know, the onus is really on them to try and make things happen early game. I mean, I think that's really how most series go. Like, you generally tend to see, you either tend to see it go either one of both ways, or like one of two ways. You either tend to see, you know, in the first game of a multi-game series, generally tend to be either like super aggressive from both teams. You know, they can either, you know, go very aggressively and try and make stuff happen, and the game ends really quickly. Otherwise, you see, you know, both teams maybe play it really passively and try and, you know, sort of scope out what the other team's trying to do. And I think maybe that's what NLY tried to go for, especially since in their semi-final match specifically, I think they reverse swept with the same lineup that we have here today. They've been playing with, you know, subs here and there, not their, you know, original OG lineup, so, you know, a little bit different. And so we can see, really just, you know, perhaps this game, hopefully, we see them come out more aggressively and try and make things happen. And so we're going to transition into game now. Let's try and... Okay, there we go. We got it all set up. Now, classic pause coming out right now here. Hopefully it starts soon, because we did see Kaza tickets. Well, I saw Kaza tickets disconnect, and he's recently reconnected, so he should be getting back in any minute now. And then we should hopefully get right into this game. I mean, you can see right off the bat the inspiration secondary tree for Kaza tickets here, taking that stopwatch. Now, stopwatch recently got nerfed, so, you know, it doesn't come online until 10 minutes if you take it in your runes. And I think it's probably a little bit of a suboptimal choice in this specific matchup, right? So I think the main draw of taking perfect timing is that you get that cooldown reduction on your passive for Zhonya's Hourglass, and I think it might apply to the other stopwatch items, not 100% sure, but, you know, specifically for Anivia, the Zhonya's cooldown. Now, with the team that he's going up against, there's not really a lot of situations where Zhonya's is particularly super useful, right? So, you know, you imagine matchups against, like, Zed or other assassins, maybe like Fizz, that, you know, you could potentially see in your matches. Those are matchups where you want to take stopwatch on your mages, so that you can, you know, avoid their main burst and perhaps survive and perhaps get a trade going down and reply. And of course, especially the Zed matchup, right? Because, you know, Zed relies a lot on his ultimate to get that assassination down on you, especially from mid-game onwards. Like, early game, he's got that big damage with the electrocute and whatnot, where he can sort of take you down without needing his ultimate necessarily. However, you know, if we look at the side of J for Genius, they don't have a lot of super burst champions. You know, Zaya, 80 carry, right? 80 carry, specializing damage over time. I don't think there's too much in the way of burst 80 carries. It's not really an 80 carry thing. And of course we have, you know, Corki in the mid lane, who is also a marksman, right? So, yeah, I think stopwatch in this scenario is maybe a bit of a suboptimal choice. Could have perhaps gone for maybe precision, maybe, or domination as secondary. But if we're sticking to inspiration, you could take, and I assume it's Cosmic Insight out of the Sinivia. I don't know for certain, but it's likely to be Cosmic Insight. And I think maybe, I mean, since you're a Nivea and you want to, you know, scale and stay alive and stick in lane, maybe like Biscuit Delivery is probably your best bet for if you really want to take inspiration. I mean, maybe Futures Market. I don't know. It's a bit interesting. Now we can see nothing too interesting coming out of the junglers in terms of their starts. So both of them starting bottom side again, exactly the same as last game. And I mean, if we look across the board, there's not really anything too crazy in terms of jungle starts. I think really the main thing is these junglers, right? They both went for Talisman, and I think at the moment, Hunter's Machete, I think, is just overall better. So, you know, the fact that both of them went for Talisman, I mean, I think it's probably suboptimal from both of them. Sorry. I think it's a bit suboptimal for both of them, but since they both did, it sort of balances out, right? So, it's not too bad overall. Someone said get a lozenge. That's the sound of the lozenge being opened. Anyway, we'll get into it. Hopefully less coughs this time. And we can get back into, you know, focusing on the game, the main attraction. We can see some jungle duel coming down. Of course, Kazakh showing off his early game might. He's got way too much mana. Algebra, oh yeah, hang on now. Anderson with the aggressive flash. Ducky's trying to get through, and looks like he's going really well. First blood going over to NS Young here on this Kazakh. He gets the solo kill, and that's going to be looking very nice for Kazakhs. Crazy, almost dying in the process as well. And depending on how lucky NS Young feels, he might go for Crazy in the spin lane. However, he does pop the potion and heal up a little bit. It looks like Crazy's just going to try and walk away with a bit of an invade farm. Match happening in the top lane here, and Lord Gisla maybe going for something a little bit over aggressive. You know, his health was going down pretty low there. Cho'Gath obviously has his stuff. Karl's trying to get a trade down in the mid lane. He does get it off pretty successfully. And we can see top lane getting ganked big time here, but Lord Gisla still has his flash available, so I don't think this gank will happen too much. The flashes away from the Suns just in time. Very close to a kill, however, it doesn't end up exactly how they wanted it to. Lord Gisla playing that really nicely with the very well-timed flash there. However, I feel like it is just a little bit of a misplay from him overall, not realizing that the Kazakhs was still in the west side jungle. So, you know, definitely Gisla could have played that better. He could have, you know, got away without having to lose his flash, and of course recalling, TPing back, and the like. So, you know, having to expend some stuff, however, it's not too bad in the long run. Now, if looking across the map, Crazy playing this Corki out a little bit better than Karza Tickets did in the previous game. He's actually able to get the CS advantage, which is what you expect really in almost every Corki lane, at least at this level of gameplay, right? Like, you know, you see LCS, OPL, you know, other, you know, super top tier competition. Pretty much everyone's pretty even in CS overall. Doesn't matter what champion they play. However, at this level, the champion does have a significant impact on the CS capability of the players. And so you generally tend to see, especially champions like Corki, you know, able to take that stuff out. I've seen other champions mid, you know, that can take out, you know, these high CS numbers. But you're generally, if you're playing a mage against a marksman in the mid lane, you're going to get out-farmed. And so we can see Shoot going in with the aggressive Janet Tornado. However, Algebro coming in Karan going down very low here. Looks like he might die. The heal comes out from Lamus Pro. The TP coming in from Rainbow Duckies. He might be able to get something done there. Oh, sorry, not Rainbow Duckies. Kaza tickets instead. But he doesn't land the wall in just the right spot. And it looks like both teams are going to walk away with no kills. However, that's a TP expended for Kaza tickets. Meanwhile, Crazy in the mid lane extending that lead. And then top lane getting a push in towards the tower as well. Not too much damage being laid down there. And we can see Gizla trying to go in for an aggressive invade. The Rupture comes out from checkout to try and disengage, and it looks like it was successful overall. However, Gizla trying to re-engage here. Both champions on pretty low mana, however, Gizla with the advantage in his mana being, a reasonable amount. Rainbow Duck is out of mana now, so if Gizla knows what he's doing, he will try and go in here, and that's exactly what he's going to try and do. No reaction from Manus Young, however, luckily for him, it wasn't needed, and looks like Rainbow Duck is going to get away. He's going to get that recoil. He's going to walk back to lane with perhaps some new cool items. And Algebra going in on Karan here. Karan AFKing. What is he doing? He's going to get knocked up by the sign here. Crazy coming in for the reply. Karan going down below half HP. Crazy trying to get some damage down. However, the tunnel, I don't know what the ability is called, comes out. Anderson going in for the re-engage. Looks like it's the 3v2 right now. Kazik is going down low, but I think he has passive up. It looks like he's going to go into his egg form. Egg coming out. Karan trying to go for the re-engage here. Heals up the Anivia. Anivia getting up HP, has to expend his flash. Crazy going out for some damage here. Kazik is going very low. Crazy flashes forwards, and Kazik goes down. Kurama go down as well, and he indeed does. That's 2 kills over Alessi. And that's some exciting action happening in the mid lane, and a lot of big collapses and stuff like that. And, I think, bot lane's got tired of the parties happening in the bottom lane, so they decided to bring the party to the solo lanes. However, on the reply, we can see top lane getting a little bit spicy here. Both champs going down to low mana, about same HP. The ultimate comes out from Lord Gizli here. Rupture coming out from Rainbow Duckies for the reply. Rainbow Duckies has the mana advantage at the moment. He might be able to make something happen with this Gizla. Whoa! The chomp comes out and just ends him! And that was just Lord Gizla with a massive misplay there. And I think this game's going to get a lot more interesting from here because we can see plays coming out from both sides. I mean, really, Lord Gizla there just misplayed that massively, right? He tried going in, getting some damage down, right? However, he didn't realize he ran out of mana. And of course, if you're playing against a Cho'Gath, you always got to keep in mind that ultimate. Like, unless you see that bloke chomp a minion 5 seconds before you fight him, you got to assume it's up. You always have to play around, especially in the late game, especially if you're squishy. However, it's not late game, but at this point, Gizla is a squishy, right? He doesn't have much in the way of resists or HP, so he's just got to die. Especially when he's below 20% HP like he was in that trade. And so now we can see the gold evening out, which is always fun. The more even the gold, the more fun the game. Now hopefully we don't get a TSM Optics slugfest where both teams are struggling to end and then, it gets to like 60 minutes. But, even games are fun. Up until they lose, they're winning. That's the fun kind of game. That's why everyone liked watching Dignitas, Dig vs Ren. Classic matchup, right? Now, I just took a look at the scoreboard here, and one of the most disgusting things I've gleaned is this mid lane matchup here. It looked worse before, and Karan just got a ton of CS. However, Corky, really nice, almost 20 CS leads. It's about 15 at the moment, which is, the start to any reasonable advantage. And the package comes out from Crazy. Ultimate out from Sion. Kazatik is going very low here. He doesn't have egg form up, and he goes down to Crazy. That's a kill over him, accelerating his Trinity Force advantage, which NLR were unable to get last game. Caitlyn getting rooted by Lessie here in the bottom lane. Perhaps the trade comes out. Ultimate comes out from Bard, lands onto the Janna, and he's going to get stunned up as soon as he forms out, and the trap goes down, and that's very low. Lamus Pro getting a kill undershoot. Leslie coming out with the ult, trying to get a reply kill here. And he doesn't have any summoners to go forward and aggressive for Karan, so it looks like NY going to come out on top of that bottom lane trade. However, Union Melb trying to reply here with this mid lane advance. Rainbow Duck is coming down with NS Young as well, Crazy on about less than half mana, so he might not be able to fight for too much longer. However, it looks like they're going to back out now. And now we can see Sion trying to go in for an aggressive bottom lane play. Except he used the blast cone, so now it's a defensive bottom lane play. At least in this scenario. And we can see Lord Gisler hitting that top tower down, getting to about half HP. Ennis Young waiting in the wings in this river here. Is going out for an aggressive play and a false Algebro. And it looks like the bottom lane for NOI collapsing onto this. It looks like it's going to get a kill. Sion going down by the Bard auto attack there with the passive popping out just in the nick of time. However, Ennis Young trying to go aggressive here. Just backs out in the nick of time right as the rest of Unimel collapse. Looks like NS Young and the rest of the boys on NOI are making aggressive plays to try and bring this game forward. This is really what we like to see, right? I was talking about it at the beginning of the game. You know, NOI really had to go aggressive this game. I mean, see Rainbow Duckies laying down some nice as damage onto this top lane tower. It's below half HP, so he's keeping up with the Trundle. And I mean, if we're looking at it, you know, on a direct comparison basis, you know, Cho'Gath is definitely doing well at the moment, you know, in terms of raw laning. Now, as I said before, it's not really about the lane in the Trundle Cho'Gath matchup, so it's not too, you know, crazy, especially because there was that assist from NS Young. However, it still bodes pretty well for NRY that this Cho'Gath has an advantage because it's going to allow him to, you know, apply that lane pressure, get those items and scale up like a Cho'Gath wants to do, you know, a lot faster than if he were in a poor matchup or if he was just even. So NRY right now, you know, playing really nicely. Kazatik is just using his ultimate to clear out that mid lane push. I mean, really, there are certain champions, pretty much in Nivea, and it's really Nivea, right? And maybe Oriana as well, where Rift Herald is almost essential to knock down their mid lane tower. Now, obviously, since Crazy had that little early game advantage, he was able to make advantage of that. But there's a fight happening in the bottom lane and in mid lane as well. I don't know what's happening. Kazatik is going down really low. His egg might not be up. He uses the stopwatch. Anderson going down as well. Anderson going super low. However, he's able to get the kill onto Crazy. Bottom lane fight happening at the same time. Ult comes out from Caitlyn, but it doesn't matter because Leslie didn't body block, so he goes down as well. Algebro going down really low. NOI taking names all over the map. Anderson possibly going down to Algebro right now. He dodges the knockup with the leap just in time. Algebro and Anderson going very low. The Q comes out from Anderson to keep him alive. Algebro trying to get the reply with his passive. However, the blast cone gets used to deny that return kill. And NOI making a big comeback in this game. And by comeback, I mean serious comeback, not... Yeah, you know what I mean. NOI are in a good position right now. They're up 2k gold already, 13 minutes. Not as crazy as Unimel was in the previous game. However, you know, they're doing pretty well for themselves. And I think the only huge point of contention is right now Lord Gisler may be taking down this first tower of the game to even up the gold. Rainbow Duck is trying to get in to make it happen. However, Gisler just hitting this tower down and he managed to make that up, closing that gold lead by about half. And he just used that pillar, as Trundles do against Cho'Gaths, to keep Rainbow Duckies from engaging. However, it didn't really mean too much overall, I think. You know, Gisler had an opportunity to go and make an aggressive trade, considering the mana pool of Rainbow Duckies. However, there's an aggressive engage happening from NOI in the mid lane. Karan going in with the battle. However, Crazy trading back appropriately, getting both champions down to half HP. Shoot coming in for an aggressive play. However, Janner is just caught inside the Anivia gameplay, dude. Insane gameplay coming out right now. Crazy going down low. Kazatik is trying to make what he can happen. However, Shoot surviving on the lowest of HPs. And Jenny just fulfilling that stereotype of being that annoying champ that just won't die. And anytime the directed cam goes to base, you know nothing's happening. However, that doesn't matter now. And so we can see a little bit of a reset happening in this middle lane, or at least overall across the map, right? NLY currently ahead, about 1k gold, a little bit less than that. So, you know, not a huge advantage. And I think a lot of that is probably in this mid lane matchup. I think if we look at the gold right here, we can see 700 gold in favour of Crazy here on this Corki over Kazatik's on this Anivia. And that's really where a bulk of the... you know, the gold deficit is reduced. I mean, comparing... I think the biggest comparison... the biggest comparison is in the jungles right now. Sion versus Kazatik. NS Young absolutely demolishing. He's taken all of these kills. You know, he is up over 1,000 gold over Sion here. And at the moment, it really shows in the items. You know, you can see the Dirk and the boots on NS Young here. You know, very powerful. You know, Dirk, the best of the lethality items if you're ever building something like that. But that doesn't matter because there's trade happening in the bottom line here. Lamus Pro getting attacked. Lessie going down pretty low. Shoot going down very low. Stands on a trap and gets conked by the headshot. And perhaps more might happen. Crazy coming in with the package. Teleport coming out. Lamus Pro going really low. The Bard stops him up for a little while. Allows the TP channel to complete, but it doesn't matter because Lamus Pro goes down anyway. The Rupture comes out. Johnny going really low. Gets chomped down. Lessie going down also very low. That's a double kill for the Treyarch here. Gizla comes in just a little bit too late. Rainbow's having to crash out. You can see why Trundle is so good in this team fights against the Trogath. Bard going down very low. Crazy trying to get what he can happen. Gizla trying to see what he can get done. However, he's only a Trundle. He doesn't have any gap closers. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, NLY is smashing that tower down. Looks like they're going to be able to secure the second tower of the game. One for themselves. Algebra going down very low. NS Young popping the ult. However, it doesn't matter because he's got replied up by Algebra and gets knocked up under the tower and killed. I mean, that's a nice reply from Algebra. However, it doesn't really matter in the end because the overall trade was in favor of NLY. They were able to secure that tower, which pretty much trumps everything overall in terms of the kills traded. And so we can see that 1k gold lead extending to about 1.5k. And of course, League of Legends is a game of advantage, and we see, wait, Karan has Electrocute? I don't know if that's the normal Bard Mastery, however, that was a very strong Q auto. Half healthing a Janna. I mean, you know, killing a Janna quickly is nothing too special, but I mean, if you're a support, it's completely different. And so it's really nice to see NLY perhaps tying this series, forcing me to cast a third game, which is always fun. I think they do it to spite me. However, we can see Lord Gizla going in, Rainbow Duckies down in the bottom lane. Classic trade between Cho'Gath and Trundle. I don't think too much in terms of solo kills will happen. I think it really relies a lot on the junglers. And as I said, NS Young comes in, try and kills Lord Gizla. It doesn't matter because he flashes away a little bit too early. The late comes out the chomp from Rainbow Duckies. And so far, Trundle is just dying to chomps. So I think at this point, we really got to consider Lord Gizla's performance, right? You know, so far, you know, he's been playing in what is considered to be a pretty strong matchup, at least a competitively viable matchup, right? Like for example, you know, if someone picks a Jax in competitive, how likely is it that the enemy's going to pick a Trundle? I mean, not Trundle, sorry, Malphite, right? It was a classic Jax counter. Not very likely. However, you know, Trundle into Cho'Gath, very likely, right? And he's had this advantage. And unfortunately, he's just had, you know, he's just been getting cucked by the jungler. And, you know, I don't know, a little bit of a misplay. I mean, he had the opportunity to perhaps flash over the wall on the bottom side of the map to perhaps get him away. However, you know, obviously in the moment, you just try and flash like ASAP. And we can see UniML securing that Rift Herald for themselves, which is a nice reply to NLY's aggressive plays here. So they'll be able to, you know, help break even, perhaps break that Anivia mid lane tower, which is always insanely difficult to break. If you've ever tried sieging against Anivia, you know how painful it is. So, you know, especially with Hassan, you know, Algebra picking this up, he has that opportunity to just, you know, go throughout all the lanes and, you know, make things happen, of course. So Corky has completed his Trinity Force at this point, so he's very strong. And looking across the board, I think in terms of core items, it seems like NLY are definitely on the forefront. So we can see, you know, bottom lane we have 2 complete core items completed for you know, Lamus Pro here on this Caitlyn. He's got that IE, that RFC, so he's definitely got a good advantage. And look, it looks like NLY trying to press that advantage. Algebra getting killed in his own jungle almost, and he does actually get taken down the end. Crazy trying to get stuff happening. However, he runs out of mana, and it looks like the passive from Sign is just getting completely destroyed by the zoning potential of Anivia. And that's NLY extending their advantage just a little bit more. Anyway, as I was saying, so across the board, we look at the items, right? Top lane, especially, top lane, good comparison. We can see the Sheen from Trundle, which, you know, it's a good item. Of course, it's a nice early game spike. It's a nice mid-item spike, I'd say. However, you know, it's not completely game-changing. Whereas we look at the side of NLY, and Rainbow Duckies has this Sunfire Cape, he has this Righteous Glory, and oh, and Gizla, no! No, not again! Ah! All 3 deaths to Cho'Gath Chomps, come on, man! You surely gotta, this is a trend, extrapolate! Extrapolate the trend, you gotta know that if you're gonna die, it's gonna be a Cho'Gath Chomp and an NS Young gank. Like, look, you gotta get those wards down, Gizla. If you wanna, you know, be over, I don't know, a team, like 2 Teemos units of length away from your tower, you gotta have the jungle just water like crazy. And Edison going in for the aggressive leap, however, he doesn't have it upgraded, so he doesn't have quite the range, but he goes in with the ultimate and he gets the electrocute down. Edison going really close, and it looks like it's going to be a trait kill overall. Crazy, getting that damage down, Command securing the kill overall. And I think, you know, Melbourne Union, I think, you know, possibly coming out pretty nicely from that. I mean, a 1-for-1 when you're already behind is positive, right? If we look at it mathematically, right? Say, for example, you have a win rate that is 40% on a champion, right? You have, I don't know, 4 losses and 4 wins and 6 losses, right? 40% win rate. And then you go 1-1 on that same champion your next 2 games. You're currently 5-11. That's a little bit more than 40%, so it's evening out, right? If you add 1 to both sides of the equation, it eventually evens out to where there's, you know, percentage-wise no difference. So, in terms of goal, it's exactly the same. And I think it's a little bit in favour of the losing team as well, because, you know, there's potential for shutdowns and the like. So, you know, Melbourne Uni, I think, come out, you know, overall, happy, I guess. I mean, satisfied, maybe. Or, I don't know the right term, but, you know, it's a positive for them to trade 1-for-1. And we can see Gizla getting trolled again. He places out that pillar. Oh, no, the walls, man. The terrain. Oh, there's so much terrain. And against a bard, that's not going to do anything for you. It's going to really be a detriment. And Lamus Pro goes down in the middle lane to Algebro with that fat-ass slam from Sion. So we know the Melbourne Uni aren't out of the fight yet. And we're currently 7 kills to 14, which was about the end game score. You know, the end game kills from the previous game, so we know this one is going to be spicy. We know this one is going to be relatively more spicy. It's going to be more spicy than the previous game. We see pause coming out. We did see Lammers Pro hitting that fat DC. So of course, you know, if the issue is still ongoing, we will, you know, see. Sorry, we will see that. You know, that NLY pause coming out, the El Clasico, is what I like to call it at this point, because it happens almost every game. The coughs don't stop, I'm very sorry. And so they're finally ending that pause. I mean, look, it wasn't that long, so I probably shouldn't say finally with such enthusiasm. But anyway, we can see this tier being completed for the end of the year here. You know, well, not quite yet, but the Lost Chapter being bought. And if we look at the spare gold, that's very quickly building up to the 1300 needed to complete that item. And the tier stack is really low at the moment. I think that's surprisingly low. I can't remember exactly what the build path was. But, I don't know, I kind of feel... I think from it... You know, I don't know for certain, but it sort of appears as though the rod was fully rushed and then the tier was bought. Or at least the tier was bought late, because 200 stacks and then in a 23 minutes seems really low. So anyway, I sort of, at least, you know, cards and tickets at the moment, not, you know, not the best option. Dennis Young trying to go for this aggressive play right now. However, he doesn't have the utility available to complete it, and Gizla getting out without dying a 5th time. I think at this point, Giz has got to notice that he's being prioritized, right? He's perhaps the least mobile, or the easiest to kill, I'd say, of the team. And NOI capitalizing on that massively at the moment. And so the second dragon of the game, Bardock comes out, landing on a crazy and Algebro. Kankuran follow up the Psylocke coming out, cowards, as he runs away. And the flash rod from Karani misses his bind. And we can see nothing happening because of it. Because both teams, really in their heart, didn't want to fight. If they wanted to fight, Karan would have landed the Q. And now we can see NOI prioritizing the Baron. They're clearing out division at the moment, and they might be ballsy enough to start it. However, NS Young going for another kill on the Giz. Come on, man! How many times do you have to kill the bloke? This is bullying right now. I know they're Melbourne Uni, but come on, you don't have to. You can't do them like that, man. That's bullying. To give credit to Giz, he's trying his best, but NOI just seem to be so intent on killing him over and over. And it just succeeds every time. He's got to be feeling pretty bad about that. And the package comes out from Corky, locking Rainbow Duckies up underneath the tower. Crazy going down very low with that chomp, but it's not enough to get the kill. Rainbow Duckies coming in with that massive cuck Janna, the shields, preventing Crazy from going down to Rainbow Duckies, and that earns Cho'Gath the first death of his game. So things seem to be dying down just a little bit as NOI sort of tries to get some stuff happening. However, as soon as I say that, I'm going in for the aggressive play, unless he does that chop in, and the lethality is enough to get him that kill. However, he does go down in reply. Too crazy. And the Psylocke coming out right on the Gaza tickets. He's going very close down. He should have his egg up at the moment. And the Bardock coming out. Whoa, that is a very nice play coming out from NOI here. The nice chain combo out of the Bard and the Anivia. The Rupture knocking up the Janna. And Janna going down very low as well. It's a double kill going over that Lamb is Pro. Can they extend it even more? But it looks like they're not going to. They're going to just clear out that wave and perhaps go for the Baron, especially considering there's only 2 members alive on the side of Melbourne Uni. However, Anivia went down into egg form while I said that in Crazy. Looks like he's going to be able to get that kill down onto Kaza tickets, evening up the play and preventing NOI from getting anything done. And so now we can see both teams resetting. NS Young with that aggressive as placement. He's got no towers to run. Wait, hang on. Is he playing the mad long con? Doesn't matter because he's against a Scion. Let's see what happens. Hang on a minute. Let's go. But you're going to get collapsed on by 2 members, and that was not the right play. I appreciate the cheese. However, the cheese was not gooder. It was badder. Please forgive me. Anyway, moving on. We can see, it was valiant effort, but it didn't work out. Really, it's fun and all, but it really cost your team in the end. But it doesn't really matter because NOI are up 3k gold. They've got those 2 dragons as well, so that helps them out quite a bit. And Melbourne Uni might try to capitalize on this. Looks like they're going in for aggressive ward clearing here at the moment, trying to get that vision down so they can perhaps try and steal away that Baron. They're pinging the Roof Scuttler at the moment, so they want to take that one down. And they do get that completely uncontested. And so, I think at the moment, I think NOI win out of in terms of what just happened over the past minute, right? So we had NS Young die. And then for the minute after, You know, the respawn time was complete. Wait, hang on, are they Fnatic death brushing? I want to see this work. Let's see. Hang on. Is someone gonna be fun enough to stand up and get completely gobsmacked by the members of Unimob? No, shoot, don't do it, don't ruin it. Oh no, not the ADC! Ah, they all dive onto him, but he manages to get away just in time. He pops his flash. Algebro trying to get something happen, but the Bardock comes out to protect him. And it almost worked. It was so close. Wait, hang on. Cousin Tickets might go down as well. NSM going in under Crazy with the assassination going down, taking him down ASAP. Look, Gizzler going down as well. There's double kill going over to NS Young here. We can see anyone going in onto the top lane, no, jungler. They switched it around. Anyway, Cousin Tickets going in, maybe getting a kill nonetheless. The pop. Oh, comes out. NS Young in the back lane coming out. Holy moly, he's popping up this game. He might get the 4th kill of this team fight here. Shoot going down very low. The slow coming out from NS Young. Will NS Young get his 4th kill? And he will! And that's probably going to be the Baron. NS Young popping off this game, man! And it looks like they're going to take this Baron completely uncontested. Algebro going to try and do his best. How he's going to get cucked by Karan here with this root. And NLY commandingly taking that Baron in the team fight. I mean, this game's so far looking very hard for Melbourne Uni to come back into, and they're gonna. I feel like this is gonna shape up into a nice series. You know, at this point, it's really hard to sort of determine what Melbourne Uni can do. Right? They probably have to wait for item spikes. But I mean, Corky's already hit 3 items, so his relevancy is maybe beginning to fall off, whereas Anivia is still on the upwards, right? So she hasn't completed early injuries, she doesn't have Void Staff. So she's still on the up, and she's still, you know, taking over. Of course, Kha'Zix does fall off as the game goes on, so there is potential there. However, Trundle with these 2 offensive items still uncompleted, you know, in terms of the Trinity Force, maybe Iceborne Gauntlet, if he decides to, you know, sort of, you know, reconcile with the fact that, you know, he's been camped, he's been put behind far. And then also, you know, Titanic or Ravenous, right? Those are, you know, both aggressive. I mean, like, it doesn't matter, even if you get the Iceborne, you know, it's still a relatively aggressive item. So it provides armor, but not HP. And that, you know, that's dangerous, you know, if you're behind, right? HP is, I believe, the most accessible stat. So if you're behind, HP is really, like, if you're a tank, right, you're a tanky champion, HP is the most accessible stat for you, right? So it's the cheapest. But if you can, obviously, if you can afford large resists, that's better overall. And so, you know, the fact that he has these aggressive items that he has started building, you know, he's really got a choice, right? A pretty bad choice at that as well, where he has to choose between it. Wait, hang on a minute. Oh, Karan not landing his combo quite good enough. Rainbow Ducky's going down about half HP right now. And NS Young split pushing on the side here. No one wants to go up and counter that, and the rest of NLY are rotating up to try and secure that tower, and it seems like Melbourne Uni are just a little bit too slow on the rotate, and they might not be able to prevent that from happening. And just as I say, the tower does go down. The Baron buff doing a lot of work there. But yeah, as I was saying, you know, you know, if you're behind, you build HP, right? So Warmix is really good, but you know, resists are more efficient the more you get. Resists are better the more you get of them, right? Well, I mean, that's technically not true, but if you can get a large amount of resist, it's really good for you. A large amount of resists is better than a large amount of HP. Because resists reduce all damage, but there's also, you know, percent HP damage and stuff like that. Which a lot of champions have these days. And especially if we see items like Last Whispers and oh, can't remember what it's called. I don't do a lot of AD itemization, but it doesn't matter because Melbourne Uni going in for a pick on a Rainbow Duck. He flashes over the wall. TP possibly coming out from Kha'Zix, however, he cancels it. Wait, hang on a minute. And then Young trying to go for an attack onto Algebraight here. He gets him down pretty low. Karan stunning him up before Simon can get the Q off, which is a lot of the damage going. It looks like the entire team of Unimel coming in. And Young going down really low here. Crazy doing a lot of damage. However, Lamus Pro also doing many more damages back to him. Lamus Pro getting held up here. They're trying to take down this ADC here on the side of NLY. However, he's fighting back with all he can, and he almost takes down 2 members of Melbourne Uni in the process. And Algebro making the fatal misstep potentially here, and he goes down very low. However, not enough magic penetration from Anivia. Leandri's not giving any more flat pen, so we can actually see coming out, not enough damage from the Anivia here. And so for them, that's pretty unfortunate. Oh man, this cough's coming in big time. I'm very sorry, everyone. Unfortunately, I don't know how push to talk. I don't know if push talk works on broadcasting, but I'd probably forget to do it anyway. So you're just gonna have to live with it, and I'll just say sorry every time. But luckily, there hasn't been a ton of action happening, so I think I can get away with it for this time. So you can see the reset coming out from both teams here. And then looking at both sides, we look at the items. Trundle finishing a Ravenous Hydra, right? The aggressive option. He doesn't opt into that Titanic, which I think is probably better for him at this point. Allows him to stay alive a bit longer, which seems to be the trouble of the members of Unimelb in this game. Crazy picking up that fat blue buff. NLY picking up buffs accordingly on both sides. Both teams got their buffs onto their relevant carries at the same time, so we should see no advantage in that. It looks like Edison going for an aggressive invade, but the package comes down from Corky to get himself away, and Kha'Zix does not have the appropriate power to keep up. And NLY almost getting 2 picks simultaneously. However, Melbourne Uni using all they can to get out. The ultimate was blown from Zaya, the package from Corky. I'll say the first Elder Dragon of the game is going to be going over to NLY. That's going to make them super powerful at the moment, making it very difficult for Unimelb to come back into this game now. Karan going down low, burn damage from Janna, wrecking his HP, not really, but, doing some damage. Gizla, NLY, NS Young, and Gizla, that's their, name a more iconic duo right now. It's just happening over and over. I feel like almost all of Gizla's deaths are to NLY. And Kha'Zix taking down Leslie on the back line. Crazy coming in, trying to get what he can done, but the rupture comes out. Valkyrie's out of the way. He's trying to get some poke down. However, NLY are performing a fat siege with Elder Drake. It's going to make it very difficult for Melbourne Uni to defend. They're going to try Crazy throwing out as many rockets as he can. However, the fat damage coming out from Lamus Pro. Oh, holy shit, the headshot taking down Janna from about 2/5 HP. That is massive. Karan going down low, however. And it looks like NLY are not done with this push just yet. Crazy below half HP, so that NLY might be able to make the final push of the game. The Demolish perhaps coming out. Caitlyn not coming out. Blocked by Algebro. Not doing much damage overall. Caitlyn getting a lot of damage down onto Algebro here. Holy crap, he's about to go down as well. Rainbow Ducky's hitting that tower shot. And it looks like the passive that Algebro might be able to get Rainbow Duckies down, and he does in the end. However, Lamus Pro doing a lot of damage. The chunk coming out from Trundle doing a lot of damage to Lamus Pro. However, he gets up against the wall, and that Bard and Nivea combat coming out big time. But we can see the Guardian Angel is actually procced onto the Kha'Zix, and it allows enough time for the rest of the members of Melbourne Uni to go down. It looks like NLI are going to tie this series 1-1 and bring us to the 3rd game of the series in a commanding victory. We had Stomp Game 1, Stomp Game 2. What's going to happen Game 3? We don't know. Stay tuned to find out. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in just a few. Welcome back to the Division 2 Summer Rumble Grand Finals between Uni of Melbourne's J for Genius and Monash University's Nobody Likes Yodels. Today we are in the third game of a 3-game series, both teams having dominating performances in their victories, with NLI taking out Game 2 in convincing fashion. The question is, will Uni of Melbourne be able to bounce back and pull out fat counters, or will NLI be able to crush this Game 3 if the momentum P equals MV? And so we're heading into this amazing champion select right here. Now at the moment the bands are progressing reasonably slowly at the moment. And I am still dying, but aren't we all? So I can see a lot of champions from previous games coming out being banned. The Cho'Gath being banned by Uni Melbourne, even though they played it in the previous game. I'm afraid to open that up. Hang on, I probably shouldn't have shown that message. Give me a sec. And so, for now, we'll head back into the champion select, and we can see Murdoch coming out for the second game from Rainbow Ducky. So he's going back to what he had in the first game when his team lost. Risky pick. And we can see Melbourne Uni going for the third time. So, of course, that thing, 50% win ratio in this series so far. However, since that, we can't really put it down to any specific happening. And so we can see Ornn for the first time being picked in this series, whether it'll go top support or maybe even jungle. Believe it or not, we don't know until the champion select is complete. And NS Young, please do not pick Lee Sin. That champ is... No, don't do it. Whoa! He picked Lee Sin! Now, for those of you who don't know, Lee Sin is kind of in the gutter at the moment after those Sightstone and Tracker's knife removal. So it's going to be pretty difficult for this Lee Sin to do the ward hopping and crazy magics and mobility that he used to have. However, there is an opportunity, for the rest of Lee Sin's, infamously reliable kit to shine. So we can't just count him out completely. And we can see a lot of tank picks coming out from Uni Melbourne. They're leaving their carries for the second ban phase, which gives NLY a tough choice. Do they ban 2 mids, 2 ADCs, or 1 of each? Now, it really just depends on what they thought were the big issues of the previous game. However, interestingly, from J for Genius here, they banned the Cho'Gath, so they don't have that available, obviously. However, they did ban the 2 big carries of NLY in the previous game, and that was the Anivia and the Kha'Zix, so that removes a lot of options in terms of NLY's choices. I expect there to be a Corki again. As for which side it's on, we don't quite know at the moment, but I do expect it to come out of Uni of Melbourne. I expect them to pick that in their first round of picks after these bans are completed, unless they ban it now. Of course, they just still have 5 seconds. And of course, they take out 3 of the 5 champions played in the previous game. And we might actually see a Jin come out for Lamb's Pro here. He's still got that on the cards. You know, that is a classic main of his. However, possibly unlikely. I did actually have a chat to some of the members of NLY, and they were a bit dubious of Jin in the current meta, of course. Not having the same success he had previously when Lethality reigned supreme in the bot lane. And we can see the last ban coming out is actually the Corki, so we will see some interesting new diverse mid lane picks, perhaps. Malzahar is left open, so that is an option for these two teams. And Tristana still left open very far into the ban phase here, despite being one of the strongest AD carries in the meta at the moment. And right now, I mean, if Uni of Melb can get a hyper carry in the mid lane here, then we might actually see, you know, like the beginnings of a really strong composition for J for Genius. Meanwhile, NLY have a bit of, you know, they have their fingers in each of the bowls. I don't know what the correct analogy is. However, and they've got the late game scaling on Maokai and Twitch, and they got the early game on Lee Sin. And of course, as predicted, you know, that Malzahar was left up, and so they do end up picking it. And it'll be interesting to see whether Melbourne Uni actually have an answer for Malzahar at the moment. Looks like they're going to default back to Crazy's comfort pick, Vel'Koz, which I don't know how this matchup really goes. I mean, really, it's interesting as a mid main, but you know, because Vel'Koz doesn't, you know, show his face very much in the meta, he does have that little bit of cheese factor. So I think I'd give the edge to him in terms of that 1-on-1 matchup. 2v2, I mean, it's Twitch Bard versus Tristana Braum. And I think if we look at that matchup, you know, head to head, you know, the Braum swings that in his favor quite a bit, and you know, Tristana's just raw strength will help propel them to, you know, possibly a very positive lane phase. And it looks like it is actually going to be Ornn jungle this game, so that's pretty interesting. You don't see much in the way of Ornn jungles, and it'll be interesting to see how it works out. But you know, we turn to the game 1 matchup of Maokai versus Sion, which you know, has been, you know, it's strange, I guess, that NLY would opt into this. You know, it was very difficult for Rainbow Duckies in the first game, and I think, you know, it might be difficult for him to have a huge impact. You know, man, I say you know very frequently. Let's stop that. Anyway, Maokai versus Sion. We saw it in the first game. Sion got ahead. I don't expect too much to deviate from that in this match. So it'll be good to see whether Rainbow Duckies can actually pick that up and perhaps have a better lane phase than he did in the first game. Other than that, it looks like J for Genius are probably pretty happy with their comp overall. It's reasonably similar to the comp they had in the first game where they actually won. And so it should make for a very nice third game where, you know, NLY switching things up massively, you know, with 3 different picks that they haven't picked before, whereas, you know, Unimob going for a bit more comfort. And of course, the Bard worked really nicely in the lane that they had, able to go aggressive. But with Tristana Braum, I feel like it's a little bit harder for them, or maybe more difficult to be as successful with, because the Tristana Braum lane is a lot stronger, I'd say, than the Xayah Janna lane in terms of the early laning. So as we wait for the spectator delay to finish, I'll take a quick break and I'll be right back as we get into games so we can get covered on all of that early action. And so we'll see you in a couple of minutes. And so we are now ready to head right into the game. And I'll work my hardest to get all of the irrelevant stuff off. Wait, hang on, that's not good. There we go, and now we have a good spectator screen. We can see the early game unfolding as it does. We can see it looked like there was going to be a little bit of action there. However, in the end, they decided not to go all in, and we can see Ornn taking that Hunter's Talisman again. I spoke over the previous game. Machete is overall, I think, just the better item. So, you know, I mean, Lee Sin, Machete is, you know, really nice on him. Talisman is, you know, pretty garbage for him overall because, you know, he doesn't get that mana anyway. So it's a pretty useless stat for him, and so that just makes Machete even better for him. Now we can actually see the early game happening pretty straightforward. It looked like there was a bit of a trade in the top lane. Actually, sorry, still happening trade in the top lane. Gisla going down very low here. Maokai early game OP it seems. And he goes down to below half HP, and he's going to have to pop, well, both of them are popping a corrupting pot apiece. But I feel like Gisla's going to have to pop another, and that's going to give him a bit of a tough time right out the gate. So we have Stopwatch coming in from Kaza tickets here. I think that's actually pretty alright in this matchup, you know, as opposed to the Anivia from the previous game, which, I mean, it worked out well overall. It didn't matter too much that he picked that, and it was a bit suboptimal. As I said, suboptimal, not game breaking. But I feel his Stopwatch in this scenario is actually pretty alright, considering that it will, how you say it, sort of, you know, help deal with the issues that you know, not the issue, sorry, but the, you know, the ultimate from Vel'Koz. You know, he's a reasonably bursty champion overall, and so, you know, it follows that a Stopwatch will be quite effective against him. And we come into yet another pause for our players. It seems like the pause will continue, or not continue, sorry, the game will continue, the pause will end right about now. And I really like this, you know, this support meta that we've seen throughout this series, right? The ignites on both supports every single game, leading to the aggressive plays, people wanting to grab those early game advantages, which are so key in these matches. And so if we, I mean, looking around the map, everything seems to be reasonably stale for now. However, we did see that Gisla actually did end up recalling and expending his teleport. However, NS Young going in for the aggressive invade on Lee Sin, getting Algoro down to half HP. He still has his flash up, so he can actually get away, and he does end up using it. NS Young not choosing to follow flash over. However, he's going to be happy with that trade, as that's going to slow down the tempo of Melbourne Uni's jungle, and NS Young might come in for the cheeky Q to prevent the recall. He does mispredict it, thinking that Algobro would be in the bush. Of course, with that ward there, Enisung knows where, Algobro knows where Enisung is, but Enisung does not know where Algobro is, and they've flopped the knock-up coming out of Algobro here. He's trying to get as much as he can done, but Enisung is just going to be able to take this free farm. Crazy moving up towards a supportive position for this invade, and Kaza Ticket's doing his best to follow. However, in the end, it doesn't mean much. Enisung going in front of the aggressive invade. He's trying to go in. He's getting Algobro down low. Algobro misses the knockup for the second or possibly even third time right now. However, he does bring up that little pillar to prevent the trade from continuing. And NS Young going very aggressive here. Both junglers on about similar CS scores. And Director Camera doesn't even like to let us know. However, Lamb is Pro did in fact get first blood down under Braum in the bottom lane. And of course the technology is not there yet for replays, at least on this stream. And so it turns out that we won't actually get to see this, unfortunately. My IQ is not high enough. Sorry, I missed a few Rick and Morty episodes from the latest season. I will apologise yet again for that. So now we're back to boring jungle farm. course, we see... I mean, really, it's hard to fill in this time, you know. People are farming. If we look at the items, we can see Ornn has actually backed and completed his jungle item. He does have that slowing smite. Even though arguably Skirmishes is much better than the slow smite. I forget its name. Stalker's, that's right. Stalker's Blade. Anyway, we can see Lee Sin finally getting back. He picked up the Skirmishes. He knows what's up. He follows the meta. He's ghosting this stream for sure. But anyway, and he does actually end up picking up that longsword as well, so he does have that early game advantage. And in terms of items at least, and a trade coming out in the infamous Sion Maokai LCS spectacular gameplay. Sion with the 6 lanes wide E. Mana going and health going low for both of these top laners here. It looks like Murdoch, he's having a bit of a better time, at least in terms of farming, than he did in the previous game. However, that advantage is nullified very quickly by Sion by simply killing the wave. But in the mid lane, it's a little bit of a different story. The advantage seems to be slowly building up. And why is it every time I say something, it begins to be less true? This game will not end for 60 minutes. Okay, it didn't work. Anyway. You can see, well, the ultimate coming out for Murdoch is here. He's got the support from Kaza tickets, and it looks like they might be able to get this first blood onto Gizli here. And, oh man, is it going to happen again? Is Gizli just going to get camped again? It's unfair. These guys need to, I think NLI need to be sent to a review for this bullying right here, man. However, looks like they're trying to reply. Union Mob are trying to reply with a reply kill. They actually end up getting it down onto Kaza tickets. Velkoz's ult was expended for that. NS Young tried to get in just in time, perhaps get a reply kill, but he was unable to seal the deal. And it looks like Union Melbourne are going to try and get some stuff happening. They're going to go for an aggressive invade onto NS Young's red buff. And will the bottom lane of NLY respond? Possibly. Oh no, looks like Karan might be moving up, but he... No, he is moving up. So there is a bit of agency for NLY to reply to this. However, Karan misses his bind, unable to make that land, which means that Union Melbourne are going to be able to secure this red buff completely uncontested. The only option for NLY here is to go aggressive onto Tristana in the bottom lane here. However, Tristana doing well to keep her distance, while Braum comes back, and Braum might actually come in to gank his own lane. Will he move to the mid? He sure does. Will he get the Q down? He gets it down onto Karan. Algebra coming in with that Ornn gank, and the concussive blows, getting the stun down. The satchel charge goes huge here, securing that kill onto Karan. Lamus Pro getting that passive down onto himself as well. And it looks like Melbourne Uni making this one even more interesting. Crazy perhaps trying to get something down onto Kaza tickets here, but he doesn't get too much to happen because of that ridiculous Malzahar passive. Top lane doing top lane things as classic. And we can see bot lane being the most aggressive lane of the game so far. It looks like Shoot trying to go for an aggressive Q here. Will he land it? He might just be trying to stall for time while his ADC recalls. That looks like it's exactly what he was aiming to do. So he's going to recall as well. Perhaps pick up some good items. Tristana coming back to lane with a Zeal. Wait, hang on. Did he refund a BF sword to buy a Zeal? That's an interesting item, Trist, coming out from Lessie here. However, you know, the Zeal will actually help in these elongated trades where the attack speed does reign supreme. So remember, the longer the trade, the more impactful attack speed is. It's just natural to the statistic, to the stat. Yeah, we'll say statistic. Why not? We'll sound fancy. It looks like both mid laners have their lost chapter, and it'll be interesting to see what items they go for. However, the Ornn comes out. It's a little bit too far back. Kaza tickets getting locked down by this ultimate coming out of Velkoz here, or not able to get anything happening in the well-timed Voidling, popping that Q from Velkoz here to stop Kaza tickets being hit. And good reply from NLY. Good timing by them to get stuff happening. However, the Twisted... No, wait, hang on, that's not what it's called. Maokai's ultimate coming in big time, and it looks like Braum coming in aggressively, getting knocked down to almost half HP here. Maokai might be trying to make something happen, however, without that ultimate, it's going to be very difficult for him. And it looks like Melbourne Union just going to try and reset. Crazy recalling, picking up another item for himself. It looks like he's probably going to opt into Ludens. Seems like the most obvious choice for him. And Lamus Pro going in for the assassination. Invious Twitch, cheese gank on his own lane. He pops the ultimate. Both champs getting close. Both of them expend their flashes. Both ADCs without flash. However, no one goes down in the end. Can't help but think if Twitch was running press the attack, you know, the aggressive mastery instead of the wimpy mastery, he might have been able to secure that kill. Just remember that one, boys. No wimps. Strong boy, aggressive boys only, okay? You can quote me on that. And so it looks like NS Young trying to get some damage down in this bottom lane. He's setting himself up for a lane gank. However, he will be seen at that point in terms of Fog of War. So they will know he's there. And they pick exclamation just in case. And the insect coming out from NS Young here with the flash instead of a ward hop. Obviously. Oh no! Potentially deadly choice from Shoot. He tried to style with the blast cone instead of just getting out. And that cost him his life. And so we can see a top lane engage coming out here. Gizla not getting the knock-up, but he does get some decent damage down using his Q. And it looks like it's going to be the wet noodle fight. This is even better than that Reddit post that hit front page today because I'm casting instead of having anime sounds and noise. However, Gizla going down low, and Rainbow Ducky's abusing his passive to get back to the full HP. And Kazdik is opening up that ultimate. NS Young able to get in quickly. He doesn't have his ultimate available though, so Velko's able to get out of that one alive in the nick of time. Unfortunately for NLY, the abilities were just not available for NS Young, and he was minion blocked, so he wasn't able to land the resonating strike in enough time. However, if you're Unimelb, you're pretty happy about that fail gank. It gives you a little bit of leeway, considering you're down 600 gold. Very small advantage, of course, but an advantage nonetheless. And I mean, looking at the scaling of both teams, I'd say I'd rather have Unimelb's comp overall. You know, Lee Sin falls off. That's pretty well known. I think I'd rather have a Vel'Koz in the late game than a Malzahar. I mean, he's got that peak potential, but if we're looking purely at team fights, I think Vel'Koz definitely has the advantage. And I mean, Ornn also falls off, you know, same as Lee Sin, but not as hard, I don't think, you know. Obviously, with those, you know, special items and stuff like that, it sort of makes up for his individual shortcomings in the late game. Then, of course, we look at the bottom lane. I mean, Tristana, Twitch, both of them are hyper-scaling carries. But I think Braum overall is just a better support than Bard. Right? And, you know, because of that, I give it to Unimelb. Other than that, I feel like they're reasonably even. Of course, Maokai does eventually get super tanky, and Maokai's utility is better than Sion's in the late game. At least, you know, the way I see it. So we can see, just looks like Ornn Algebro here going for that lane gank, unseen by NLY. However, they do ping back. So it looks like Unimelb are not very keen on following through. And so, wait, hang on. Where did this advantage come from? It's now almost at 1,000 gold, and I have no clue how that occurred. And so we do see that the Ludens is actually completed by Crazy, so he's going to be stronger in this lane than the Malzahar in terms of items. Malzahar managing to get it back, however, he's not going to get much in the way of items out of it. So, you know, he hasn't completed his Lost Chapter item. It's a curse, isn't it? As soon as I say it, it happens, right? I say he hasn't completed the Lost Chapter item, and he finishes it. Just, I don't know, man. I need to stop saying things. I need to stop predicting or, like, stating fact. And we can see Rainbow Duck's going, and he flashes forward with the Twisted Advance. The ultimate comes in, keeps him rooted for ages and ages, and the Ornat coming out to knock him away. However, NS Young comes in to finish off the kill and grab another kill for himself. Lord Gizler being knocked. Whoa, where the hell is he doing there? And he gets kicked back by Lee Sin. He tries to get the Q out. Well, that's a double kill going over to NS Young, and he's just taking over this game yet again. But Unimel were able to reply by taking the first tower of the game. Tristana doing well to expend her relative early game advantage over this Twitch. However, the Bork Rush from Lamus Pro here end up doing really well. And oh, that's a very nice ultimate for Karan here. Getting the mid-air ultimate down onto Lessie, keeping him still, chaining the stun, and grabbing a kill for an LY. So NLY doing very good to get themselves an advantage this game. And for the moment, it seems like they're going to be able to ride this series home. They do have the momentum. And they take Rift Herald, exacerbating this lead that they have. Unimel just need to make something happen, or else they're just going to slowly lose this game out like they did previously. And it looks like they're going to try and do that as soon as I say it, coming in for that gank. However, NS Young is there in the wings. He's coming in for the counter gank. Algebra has to flash away. He's going down very low. Gizler trying to get as much as he can done. However, Kazix is here as well. So this is not an even fight. However, in the mid lane, Velgos is pushing down the tower. Will he be able to secure it? We don't know until it appears up on the screen. However, NLY are trying to push this top tower in, especially since they had to send False Algebra home. And that mid tower does end up going down. The Rift Herald is popped in the top lane, and that'll help them reply with the top tower. And it looks like, oh, the suppression comes out onto Sion here, and Gizler going to be caught out again. He gets cocked by the Rift Herald, and then Lee Sin comes in with the ultimate to finish him off. And that's NLY taking an advantageous trade. And so Unimel, they tried to make something happen there, but it just was not enough. In the end, it turns out that, NLY make a reply trade, and it turns out even better than what Unimel tried. So at this point, Unimel, come on, man. You gotta do your best. I mean, look, they tried hard. They sure did. And Lamus Pro trying to go aggressive here, over shooting less here in the wings. The concussive blows lands. Sorry. That's not concussive blows, that's the passive. Anyway, the stun does not end up landing, so no pick for Unimel here. And as we look at this gold advantage, NLY, they're only up 1.7k. Like, that's not huge. That's definitely recoverable for the Unimel here. And considering they have the better, or at least from what I see, the better scaling team, comp. I feel like, Melbourne Union definitely still have a chance to get back in this. And with the drag coming up in a minute, both teams are going to look towards getting that one. If we take a quick gaze as to what Drake it's going to be, it will be a mountain. And of course, every team wants a mountain Drake. It's kind of like, oh, and the flash forward ult from by Kaza Tickets. Coming in, Crazy has to flash away before he dies. Bardal coming out, Crazy with the fancy feet to try and dodge it. However, he has to dodge back into the team, so he dies anyway. NL trying to get the insta-kill into Lessie, and he kills him anyway. There's 2 kills coming out for NLY here. They're going to try and chase for more, or they're just going to split back and get this Mountain Drake and extend their advantage. And so now they're up 2k lead, extending this gold lead a few hundred at a moment. And they take another tower for themselves, bringing it up to 2 apiece, and Karan going aggressive with this route here. Shoot going down pretty low, however, he's able to dash away from the danger. And Gisler doing his best to make himself useful by clearing out the vision of NLY that they don't really care about at this point. And it looks like the Mountain Drake's going to go down to tie them up 1 Mountain Drake apiece. It looks like Algebro's going to be stealing away this blue buff for himself, stitching up Crazy in the process. And I mean, at this point, if you're behind as a mid laner, blue buff is actually really nice, especially on a mage, because it allows you to keep up in the wave clear. However, Algebro does not care, because he wants to be the carry, goddammit! And so on completing his items, doing the El Clasico, of course, buying his items without giving a truck. And we can see Baron is about to come up the 20-minute mark, almost approaching. And so hopefully we can see some battles happening around. That should be fun. And we can see Lammersbro taking his first red buff of the game. Does Lessie have one in reply? No, he does not. And potentially if I come out here, Gizla trying to get some stuff done. The ghost popped by Kaza Tickets here on this Malzahar, but he does not get in range to get anything done. And Orn trying to ult in. Cooler the Mad God, and they're trying to go right in onto the Lammersbro, and he gets down very low. However, he's able to flash out with a nose ult from Bud. Kaza Tickets going low in just a second. And he manages to stopwatch the ultimate from Vel'Koz. However, it doesn't matter because he goes down anyway. However, has he bought enough time for his team? Yenes Young going down very low. He has to flash away. Does Leslie have the dash to go in? No, he does not. He decides to back away. And UniML taking a very nice advantage. Will they be able to get Rainbow Duckies? No, he retreats back into his jungle. However, they should be able to grab this mid lane tower. Rainbow Duck is coming in with the ultimate. Who will buddy block to keep stuff nice and good? No one, it seems. Brom doing his best. However, the tower is just doing too much damage to their team. And it looks like UniML, they had it going good for the moment, but NLI were able to successfully defend and completely nullify any advantage UniML were poised to achieve. However, they should have a little bit more gold in their pocket, so they should be able to go back and spend this away, which should be good for them. Tristana with 1200 gold, that's almost enough for a Zeal. However, I don't think at this point Tristana wants a Zeal. Instead, the IE is finished, which is an even better spike, so UniML should be able to perform much better in the following team fight. And considering they won that last one reasonably well, they should be pretty confident in making sure this happens. Blue buff passing over to Malzahar right now. Wards going down all throughout the map, mostly around the Baron. Both of these teams read the patch notes. They know that this thing is much stronger than it was a few weeks ago. So they're both very eager to get it. And we can see Orn trying to go in to get something happening. We can see Malzahar getting caught out potentially. However, no one was able to follow up on that Orn ultimate, so nothing ends up happening in the end. Rainbow Duckies perhaps trying to get something done. Orn waiting in the wings for Rainbow Duckies. However, he knocks Algebro into the Baron, so he's going to be taking all of that damage. Rainbow Duckies getting altered by the Scion. A lot of ults coming out from the members of Uni Melbourne here just to try and take out the main tank. I don't know how successful this is going to be. NSM coming in for the kick. Looks like there's a big team fight happening. Rainbow Duckies going low. Big ult from Vel'Koz here, getting Karan down very low. However, the members of Uni Melbourne are also going very low. Kaza Tickets also very low. Looks like the first kill of the fight going over to Kaza Tickets here. Yet Lesser going down. NS Young surviving by the skin of his teeth, and so do Karan and Kaza Tickets and most of the members of Uni of Melbourne. However, NLY, since getting that kill and having the superior positioning, are able to take down a mid tower in reply. So overall, NLY coming out on top of this trade. It looks like they're just going to recall. However, Vel'Koz trying to get something done. Oh, wait, hang on a minute. That was just a dead Karan in an instant. Crazy coming out with the random-ass ability, picking off the unsuspecting support. And I mean, it's fun. However, you know, it's not overly, how should we say it, influential to the game. But it's good nonetheless and helps them get into a superior position. And as soon as, you know, it's about to get good, UOM trying to go for that Baron, potentially, we don't actually know. The pause comes out, and we get that suspense. Will they go for it? I think it's a do or die. I mean, there's a member of NLY down at the moment. However, they're trying to do a bait. They're in a bush with no vision, so they might be able to get the catch onto Kaza Tickets. Potentially, however, they do get intuited that it's going to be in their position. They're trying to go for something. Ennis Young waiting in the fog of war. He's trying to go in now. Will he get the kickoff on Algebro? Getting the damage down onto the Tristan. Tristan goes pretty low. However, Shoot going down low as well. Braun will be the first casualty of this fight. RNLY able to get many more. The flash is blown with that amazing Bard ultimate. The Righteous Glory popped by Maokai, trying to get in to finish this damn game. However, it looks like they're not going to be going for any more kills. They might be clearing out the vision and potentially going for the Baron. Now, they try and take down Lord Gizla. However, he learned from his past games to build the tank item so he doesn't die as much. And so he will be taking very low amounts of damage from the poke from Malzahar. Now we can see NLY pinging towards that Baron. They want to get in, get it finished, and get the game over with. Will they be able to take it? It looks like they have started the Baron. Is there any vision from the members of UOM? No, there isn't, but I think they can intuit what's actually happening, and they try, but it looks like NLY actually peeled off from the Baron just in time. Lammers Pro perhaps trying to go for the sneaky cheeky, the sneaky beaky like play, shoot, trying to get engaged, being engaged on by NLY. However, they don't have enough follow-up to make it happen. And it looks like there's going to be a bit of a standout for the time being. The Baron aggroed by UOM to try and get some chip damage down onto Karan. Baron does a lot of damage to squishies, by the way, so if you're in a position like UOM, that is a nice thing to do, is to just proc the Baron for the poke. It's free manaless poke. Do it whenever you can. Now, Orn trying to get something happening, going in for Lammers Pro. He flashes out of the way. Shoot, doesn't know where he is because he's in Viz. And it looks like they're going to get out of the way just in time. Innocent down to the Dragon, able to secure the Infernal Drake. However, UOM trying to go in onto Kaza tickets here. The knockup does not quite land from Brom. Leslie going in for the aggressive jump. The Bard holds him up. Kaza tickets going down very low here. He's going to be the first casualty of the fight. Big ult coming out from Velkos here. However, the Twitch on the side making shit happen. Twitch with the double kill so far. Can he make it more? No, because NSM secures that kill, and NLY going to be taking down this team fight massively. On the only one alive, trying to recall in the fog of war. And looks like there's going to be a Baron going over to NLY, making things even harder for J for Genius. I mean, that team fight started out so well for the guys from Uni of Melbourne, right? They had that good pick onto the Malzahar. However, the Twitch was just completely untouched in the wings, able to get off massive damage with his ultimate. And Felkoz tried to flash over aggressively for the play, which I think was probably the wrong micro move in the moment. However, understandable as he wants to try and get in and kill that guy. However, he just did not have the cooldowns and damage to do so. So NLY putting themselves in an even better position right now, currently having a 7,000 gold lead with the Baron empowered minions and an Infernal Drake, putting them in a very, very strong position for the rest of this game. And if we take a look at the items, we can actually see mid lane is starting to look reasonably even. We can see the Morellonomicon coming out for Velkoz yet again. Don't know how I feel about this build overall. I do definitely feel like something else would be a better choice. Even on Leandries, honestly, even though Velkoz is a bit more of a bursty guy. However, you know, it is still pretty decent. You know, he's been doing a lot. Like, I will give him that. But the bottom line is what the biggest difference is, right? We look at Lammers Pro. He's got 3 core items completed. I mean, he did forego his boots, which, although nice, are not as impactful as having full items. And we look at this Tristana here with the defensive option. Boots, not even Greaves, has the Tabai instead. However, Gizla in the split push on the side, able to get a tower down. NLY trying to recover this one by making a trade, and with the demolish they are able to do so despite Orn's best efforts, and the insect comes out from NS Young. However, he has to flash away because he decided this is not the right fight to take, and it looks like the members of NLY are going to go down pretty low. NS Young Murdoch is going right down onto Crazy here, gets very close. However, he does not have the damage to make stuff happen, and the Bormal comes out big time. Lammers Pro coming in for the domination. He's going to get a lot of kills down, triple kill. Going over to Lammers Pro. Can he get the quadra kill? Possibly. There's one more member left, and that's Lord Gizla, the Feed Lord. Sorry. And it looks like they're going to try and take down this inhib tower. They will get that down right about now, and they will be going for the inhib and potentially going for a final push. We don't know that for certain, however. They're going to give it their best shot. The spawn timers are still 20 seconds for the members of Uni of Melbourne. However, all of those members come up at the same time. There's one more tower remaining in defense of the base, and if Sion goes down here, that could potentially be the game. The ace comes out, Lammers Pro securing that 4th kill. Braun coming out to do whatever he can. However, it might not be enough. They do successfully defend their last Nexus tower. However, they are in a very, very difficult position with this 11k gold lead on the side of Nobody Likes Yordles. Looks like they're going to be trying to take down... No, wait, hang on. They're defending. Sorry, that's the defending team. They're going to be clearing out that mid lane, trying to reset, see what they can do. Lessie here opting in for that Quicksilver Sash to get away from the Malzahar ultimate and the other CC available on the side of NLY. He's definitely going to be needing that because they're going to be relying on him. I mean, Crazy has been doing all he can to save this team fight, try and force his team to win despite their best efforts, so Leslie trying to do his best to stay alive enough to also contribute to these team fights. They are the big carries of this team, and if they can make sure that they stay alive long enough, they might be able to stay in this game a little bit longer. And of course, we can see that Crazy has opted into the Zhonya's build, so he will be able to stay alive longer than previously if he times that right. However, he did not take the stopwatch mastery, so he won't have the available hang on a minute. There we go. Okay. Anyway. Murdoch is potentially stepping a little bit too far forward there, however he is tanky enough at this point where the tower shots do not matter. And Braum trying to make the disengage to happen. He's got the shield out, however he's taking a lot of damage anyway. The Braum out lands on him and Algapro. And the flash forward from Karan to get the stun down, however Vel'Koz all coming up big time. Murdoch is going in on him. Vel'Koz has to pop his Zhonya's and he's going down very low. Murdoch is almost soloing him on the back line. Algapro going down very low as well. Karan might be able to finish off that kill. Whoever Kazikets gets it in the end. It looks like NLY going to be able to finish this one off in less than 32 minutes and be able to take this series with the 3-game reverse sweep, taking out the top spot in Division 2 Summer Rumble, killing Lord Gisla for one last time before they do it, and they're going to kill that Nexus, and congratulations to the Div 2 Summer Rumble finalists, winner champions, NLY. Monash reigns supreme once more, and that's game. And so, just everyone put a congratulations in the chat, all 10 of you. Just congrats NLY. They did pretty well. They had a pretty crushing defeat in the first game, and they were able to bring it back and win the series 2-1. And so, of course, those guys will be receiving the big RPs, and I'm sure they're used to that at that point. It's like, when you're rich, when you get a large sum of money, it doesn't matter much to you. It's like the small loan of $1 million. Yeah, that's pretty much what they're used to at this point. RP is basically nothing to them. They own every skin. Trust me, that's a fact and not speculation. Just believe me, because I'm cool. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in and watching this amazing series. 3-game series, a nice way to round out the competition for Division 2 of this Australian Summer Rumble. Give it up for your champions. Nobody Likes Yordles. Yeah. Woo. Anyway, I'm Arcade Retro, Hayden Baker, and I will see you all in the next one.